Imagine having to punch your own ticket to the afterlife 4,000 times. Why? Because every single death rewinds the clock exactly 24 hours. It's the only way to reverse time 11 years and assassinate an immortal monster, using the very same cheat code he stole from him. Let's rewind. Meet Gongja, absolute bottom-tier F-rank garbage. The guy was a walking punchline with a single pathetic ability. And the kicker, it was useless. The skill, copying one ability from whoever murders him. Great for the afterlife, useless for the living. I mean, what's the point of a power-up if you're 6 feet under? So he just rotted away in mediocrity. No talent, no future. Until one buzzed walk home changes everything. A weird noise catches his ear. He peeks around the corner and spots his idol, the #1 ranked hunter, the Flame Emperor. But the hero isn't saving anyone. He's torching a girl for an alleged poisoning attempt. Zero proof, zero hesitation. He incinerates her like trash. Gongja tries to ghost, but a stray bottle betrays him. Clink. Panic sets in. He scrambles and faceplants right into a disaster. Boom. Flame Emperor is on him instantly. Eyes burning, he demands to know if Gongja is an accomplice to the dead girl. Gongja is begging, pleading for his life, swearing he didn't see a thing. The Emperor doesn't do loose ends. With a cold smirk, he decides witnesses are a liability. Lights out. Gongja is toast. But in the void of death, his S-tier useless skill finally procs. He snatches a card from his killer's deck. Fat lot of good that does when you're a corpse, right? But then, gasp, he jolts awake in his own bed, sweating, confused, and very much alive. He checks his phone. The date, yesterday. But the memory of burning alive is way too real. How he cracks open his status window and sees the shiny new ability he stole. Returner's Clock. The ultimate cheat code: die and reboot the world 24 hours prior. New Game Plus mode, he keeps his stats and memories. But there is a twist. High-level users suffer massive penalties. But for a scrub, like Gongja, it pairs perfectly with his copycat ability. Now he's got a target. Fast forward to the time of murder, a massive inferno engulfs the district. It's the Flame Emperor's cover-up operation. He's burning the city to hide one body. Chaos everywhere. Gongja arrives on the scene to see the Emperor acting, the hero cracking jokes about playing with fire. The guy isn't helping. He's just watching the world burn because there's no paycheck involved. Total scumbag move. The crowd sees a quirky idol. Gongja sees a psychopath. And he decides right then the Emperor has to die. But here's the glitch. If Gongja wins, the Emperor just triggers the rewind and undoes his death. It's a stalemate. An infinite loop of failure. So Gongja does the unthinkable. He sprints past the villain and dives straight into the fire. The agony is absolute, but the logic is sound. Flash. He's back 24 hours. System functional. Best part, since his rank is trash, the regression penalty is 0. The plan: die 4,050 times. Rewind 11 years. Spawn kill the boss before he even gets his powers. Thousands of suicides later, the mental toll is insane. But he makes it. He's back. 11 years ago. This is the timeline where the Flame Emperor is just a nobody, vulnerable and killable. Gongja collapses, mind fractured from the loop. He drags himself up and realizes he actually pulled it off. The fanboy posters on his wall, gone. The hero worship in the city, erased. Oops, he overshot his target by 30 deaths. That's a month of extra trauma he didn't need. No time for therapy. He tracks down the future tyrant who right now is just another frustrated F-rank scrub. He recalls an old interview where the Emperor whined about his rookie days farming slimes. The guy despised the grind, the monotony, the sheer boredom of his existence. Gongja watches from the shadows, blade ready, as the future villain rages at low-level mobs. He waits for the frustration to peak. A slime lunges and Gongja steps in, slicing it apart instantly. Casual. Efficient. The Emperor has no idea the Grim Reaper just walked into his hunting ground. Scene set: hunting zone, floor 6. The target is isolated. Gongja approaches drenched in fake blood, spinning a sob story about a wolf pack ambush. He begs for a potion. The Emperor sneers and demands payment. Gongja hands over 20 gold pieces. The guy laughs in his face. Broke loser. Gongja doubles it to 40, but the greed is bottomless. He still wants more. Gongja decides to play the long game. He collapses, faking critical condition to mask his true stamina. It's an Oscar-worthy performance of agony. The Flame Emperor takes the bait, seeing nothing but a helpless victim to exploit. He snatches Gongja's wallet, counting the gold like it's petty cash. Gongja watches, confirming the Emperor is every bit the scumbag, the rumors said. But the vibe shifts. The Emperor winds up ready to end this. Big mistake. Gongja unleashes a dirty kick straight to the jewels. As the tyrant crumples in shock, our boy seizes the opening, driving his knife deep. The Emperor hits the pavement, a crimson pool spreading fast. Gongja towers over him, staring into the glazing eyes of the so-called hero. Flashbacks of the abuse flood his mind. But honestly, sending this guy to the afterlife feels empty. The rush isn't there. A pack of wolves emerges from the shadows, sniffing fresh meat. They circle Gongja, teeth bared, but he doesn't even flinch. Zero fear. He's already won the only war that mattered today. He turns his back cool as ice, leaving the wolves to turn the Flame Emperor into dinner. He treks to a hidden stash and starts digging up his emergency gear. He unearths a briefcase and swaps his blood-soaked rags for a fresh tactical black sweater. Dressed to kill, literally. Time to move. He warps across the city, blending into the crowd. He breezes past a guard in shining armor, ghosting him completely. Cut to a dim dive bar. Gongja is downing shots, trying to scrub his soul clean with alcohol. The TV blares news about the 10th floor failures, hyping up the Flame Emperor's rank. Gongja just smirks. Let the world panic. The scoreboard says Gongja 1, Emperor 0. That secret victory is the only high he needs right now. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. An old-timer struts in, radiating absolute main character energy. He commands the room instantly. He slams an order, milk, vodka, and honey. The weirdest combo ever. The bar goes silent, whispers rippling through the crowd. Gongja glances at the TV, then the man. Click. It hits him. That's the Sword Saint, the OG legend in the flesh. The realization spreads like wildfire. The news flashes a retro photo. This guy was the king of hunters, the topic of every conversation, until he ghosted the world 11 years ago. That vacuum allowed the Flame Emperor to steal the throne. Across the room, a suit fixes his tie. Gongja sips his amber poison, analyzing the old man. His aura screams S-class power. But unlike the flashy Flame Emperor, this guy keeps it low-key. No fireworks, just pure lethal efficiency. Gongja's mind races. Which of these god-tier skills can he copy? He's staring at a buffet of power. He checks the hunter database on his phone. Blank. Nothing. It's bizarre. The guy is a ghost. Zero digital footprint. No social media, no fan clubs. Total stealth mode compared to the Flame Emperor's media circus. Gongja sighs, grabbing skills from a clout chaser would be way easier. Suddenly, bam, the Sword Saint roars, nearly making Gongja drop his glass. The old man is ranting about the noise level. Gongja stays frozen, observing. All top-tier hunters are insane, the old man grumbles. Gongja wonders if madness is the price of power. Ping. Phone buzzes. New intel. It's a report on bandits terrorizing the hunting grounds on the 9th floor. Turns out the Sword Saint has history with these punks. The file says the Saint didn't handle the bandits with diplomacy. It was straight-up brutality. When a thug tried to press him, the Saint just wiped his blade and laughed, mocking their safe zone rules. One bandit tried to chirp him, claiming the Saint was just a rich snob. Bad move. The guy didn't even finish his sentence before the Saint deleted him from existence. Gongja reads on, eyes widening. This grandpa is savage. The file highlights a specific trigger warning. Never mention the bandit's family around the Saint. It's a massive berserk button. Now Gongja is hooked. He needs to know what makes this guy tick. The old man sits there muttering to himself like a lunatic. Definitely a wild card. The second the Saint stands up to bounce, Gongja is on the move. Shadow mode activated. As the legend exits, Gongja slips out. The whole bar exhales in relief. Nobody liked that tension. Gongja drops a fat tip for the bartender, flashes a grin and dips. Come back soon, the barman calls out. But outside, chaos. Gongja scans the street. The target is gone, vanished into thin air. He frantically looks around. And gotcha. A blue suit and fedora cutting through the noise. Gongja weaves through the crowd, locking on. The old man stands out like a neon sign. Gongja studies his gait. Is his power physical? Magical? If he can just analyze the skill, it's his for the taking. But then, a spike of cold dread hits him. The air gets heavy. The Sword Saint stops. He knows. Gongja freezes. The hunter has become the hunted. Stop lurking and come out, the old man barks. Busted. Heart-pounding, Gongja steps from behind a tree. The Saint leans casually on his weapon, staring daggers. Gongja realizes the terrifying truth. No witnesses. Just prey and predator. Gongja approaches the old-timer with a request that sounds sketchier by the second. He instantly regrets opening his mouth, but he doubles down anyway. Armed with nothing but a rusty shank and a heart hammering against his ribs, he stares down the lethal geezer. The Sword Saint eyes him like a hawk, convinced Gongja is some master of disguise. Meanwhile, our boy is just totally lost in the sauce. He stammers an apology, desperate to clear the air, but the old master isn't having it. The tension spikes. In the Saint's eyes, this trembling kid is actually a top-tier assassin playing mind games. Gongja pleads that he's just a random NPC, but the legend ain't buying what he's selling. With a smooth shing, steel flashes, and the old man forces Gongja to look at his own reflection in the blade. Zip it, the Saint commands, his expression colder than ice. Gongja finally clues in, this isn't a chat, it's an interrogation. The Sword Saint drops a bomb. He's got a built-in lie detector, and right now, the alarms are blaring. Gongja's cover is blown. The old man points out the blood-red digits hovering over our hero's head, 4,091 kills. A crimson scoreboard for the world to see. Flashbacks hit Gongja hard, every life he's snuffed out, mostly consisting of his own repeated suicides. He's offed himself 4,090 times just to exploit the system. To the Saint, This kid is a merciless demon bathed in blood. Trembling like a leaf, Gongja tries to defend himself. I only wasted the Flame Emperor, but he reads the room he's cooked. He scrambles, booking it in the opposite direction, but the saint is glued to his heels. Gongja weaves, dodges, then wham, trips over his own feet. He hits the dirt totally gassed. Game over. The sword saint towers over him, blade raised high for the execution. Gongja braces for the end, but the blow never lands. Instead, the old man barks at thin air, quiet. Gongja peeks up from the dust, totally bewildered. The old man is having a full-blown conversation with absolutely nobody. He's bickering with a ghost. Based on the one-sided dialogue, this invisible third wheel is giving orders. Don't kill the kid yet. Grill him for info. Our suicidal protagonist has zero clue what plot twist just dropped. The sword saint is too composed to be having a schizophrenic break. This isn't madness. It's something else. It clicks. The geezer must be using some high-level telepathy skill to communicate with an unseen ally. Pure panic sets in. If the saint is broadcasting intel, then the secret is out. People know about the floating kill count. If the Hunter Bureau catches wind of the 4,091 victims, he's toast. Nowhere to hide. Every elite guild and bounty hunter will be gunning for his head. Capture means a public execution and a world of pain. There's only one escape route: die, reset, wipe the slate clean. He needs to trigger the saint into a blind rage. Time for some trash talk. He smirks, dropping a comment about the old man's grandkids. A literal suicide note spoken aloud. That definitely grabbed the geezer's attention. Gongja keeps yapping, spinning a yarn about noble houses and how big targets attract nasty flies. He references the chaotic news cycle, implying the saint's precious grandbabies are prime targets because of their legendary DNA. Bullseye. The sword saint snaps, before Gongja can utter another syllable. Flash, the blade moves at light speed. Suddenly our boy is airborne and the moon is hanging upside down in the sky. He spots a headless body collapsing below. Wait, that's his body. He braces for agony, but nothing. Just a weird floaty euphoria. At least it was instant. The strike was so clean his nerves didn't even register the severing. Damn, he wants that move. Everything fades to black, and boom, he's back in the system lobby. A holographic window pops up, condition met. It's shopping time, baby. He can finally copy a skill. This was the master plan. Snag an S-rank combat ability, respawn, and become a god of war. He scans the deck. But where's the gold card? Is this a prank? He literally died for this trash. He stares at the options, feeling totally ripped off. It makes zero sense the sword saint was the apex predator. He should be stacked with S-tier perks. Then, the truth hits him. The old man climbed to the peak without a single cheat skill. No overpowered system buffs. Just pure, unadulterated grit. What a waste of a death. But he can't leave empty-handed. The silver cards look mid, but 4 are passable. He picks a random card and crosses his fingers. System lock-in complete. He reluctantly accepts the loadout and respawns. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the silence. He spins around to find a red-headed dude chilling right next to him. The spectral beefcake thought the sword saint had just popped up. He snaps at the saint to keep it down, so he can focus on his night routine, leaving our boy standing there confused out of his mind. "Who the hell are you?" our hero blurts out. The redhead freezes, looking visibly shook. "Wait, can you actually see me?" Gongja nods. "And hear me," another nod. The ghost drops to the floor, getting right in his face. This just got interesting. The air crackles with confusion. This shouldn't be happening. Suddenly, the redhead explodes into motion, jumping to his feet. He's barking demands, thrashing around the small room. "Where the hell am I? It's tighter than a dog crate in here." Then the million-dollar question, where's the old geezer? Gongja blinks, totally thrown. "Old geezer, you mean the sword saint?" The spirit sneers. "Yeah, that amateur." Amateur Gongja freezes. Did this guy just call the strongest hunter alive a total noob? Gongja frantically scans the skill card floating in his vision. The realization hits like a truck. This entity isn't human. Wait. Are you the spirit haunting the sword saint's back? The spirit smirks, pivoting in midair. Bingo. Gongja goes pale, stammering an apology. "Look, I didn't mean to hijack your soul or anything, but the ghost isn't listening." He erupts into a rage. "You stole the skill, kid. Unsteal it. Send me back to the old man right now." He's screaming that this needs to be reversed immediately, but Gongja shakes his head. "I can't just delete a skill, man. That's not what I wanted to hear." The ghost literally walks up the wall and hangs from the ceiling like a bat, screaming, "I am the Sword Emperor. I can't be kidnapped by some F-tier scrub." Gongja covers his ears. "Dude, stop screaming upside down. You're freaking me out." "Freaking you out. This is a tragedy." The ghost rants, blaming the sword saint for being careless. "I told that ungrateful geezer 1,000,000 times. Worship me, respect the teacher. But no, he gets sloppy and loses me." Gongja sighs. "Chill out, you've been dead for centuries." That snaps something in the ghost. "If you're dead, act like it. Rest in peace already." Gongja snaps back. The ghost gasps, offended. "Are you cursing me, trying to exorcise me, you brat?" The noise level is off the charts. Suddenly, it all clicks for Gongja. No wonder the Sword Saint always looks like he wants to murder everyone. He's been living with this non-stop noise in his ear. 247. I spent my whole life invisible just to avoid attention from guys like the Saint. Gongja mutters. The ghost pauses, floating closer. The old man is noble, sure. A real hero, unless you bring up his grandkids. Then he turns into a total softie. Gongja cuts to the chase. The Saint has a skill that sees kill counts right. The ghost rolls his eyes. The murderer's eye, useless trash. It just shows if someone has blood on their hands. Boring. Gongja points a thumb at his own chest. Look at mine. The number floats above his head, 4091. The ghost balks, his jaw dropping. You don't make me laugh. He scoffs. You're clearly a rookie. No bloodlust, no aura. You're greener than grass. How does a bum-ass loser like you rack up over 4,000 kills? You're right. I'm not a serial killer, Gongja says, voice flat. I killed one enemy. The other 4,090 deaths. Those were me. I killed myself over and over to travel back 11 years. I copied a regression skill. Every time my heart stops, I wake up 24 hours in the past. I let the Flame Emperor kill me to steal his power, then I looped my own death. The ghost stares, processing the madness. Infinite regression. You're basically immortal. Gongja nods. I want revenge, but I can't kill him in the present. He's ranked number 1. He'd just regressed too. I had to go back to before he became a god. The ghost looks at him with new eyes. You really died 4,000 times just to catch one guy. Yeah. The weight of that statement hangs in the air. Even the noisy ghost is stunned into silence. Finally, the spirit asks, "What's your name, kid? And why snag the Sword Saint's skill?" "I'm Gongja, and the Saint is the top dog. If I'm gonna survive, I need to steal from the best." The ghost narrows his eyes. Smart. The card says nobody else can perceive me right. Exactly. Just us. The spirit grins, a mischievous glint in his eye. All right then. Stand up. He circles Gongja like a shark. You're crazy stubborn and your body isn't total garbage. I see potential. He hovers face to face. Let's see what you've got. Hunt something. Cut to the forest moments later. Just these slime things, Gongja asks. The ghost nods. Gongja draws his knife, lunging at a slug monster. The slime counters wrapping around him like wet cement. Gongja doesn't panic. He stabs methodically until it dissolves. Splat. The ghost flicks imaginary goo off his spectral robes. Mediocre. Just as I thought. Gongja frowns. Excuse me. The ghost drifts higher, looking regal. I was the apex predator in my world. I climbed the tower faster than anyone. And you kid, you need serious help. Gongja flashes back to the Flame Emperor's legendary run to the 40th floor, with maps hinting at a mythical 99th level. Straight up god-tier stuff. The ghost points a spectral thumb at himself, bragging that those kinds of insane feats are exactly what attracted a veteran hunter like him. That's the real reason he's scouting Gongja's hunts. Our underdog sighs, claiming it's all hopeless since he's got zero potential, but the spirit cuts him off, calling that total garbage, insisting the kid is sitting on a goldmine of potential. Gongja freezes, skeptical. He asks if this is a prank. The ghost denies it then, proceeds to roast him, admitting Gongja has absolutely no gift for martial arts. His form is trash, his physique is weak, and awakening a rare skill is a pipe dream reserved for main characters. But then the spirit drops the twist. Gongja has one god-tier trait, zero fear of death. Normal people flinch, but our suicidal protagonist dives headfirst into hell. The ghost explains that dying over 4,000 times didn't traumatize him. It deleted his survival instinct, something nobody else could survive. Gongja blinks, asking if being broken counts as a talent. The ghost nods. It's not natural. It's a stat grinded out through pure suffering. He declares that conquering the terror of death is the ultimate flex. He adds that it's actually awe-inspiring. Gongja is stunned. Nobody has ever hyped him up like this before. He recalls how the Flame Emperor treated him like a disposable NPC, which pushed him into this loop of self-sacrifice, never caring about his past or future. Gongja stares at his palms, realizing his endless deaths have finally morphed into his greatest weapon. The spirit probes, asking what went through Gongja's mind when the Sword Saint sliced him in half. Gongja averts his gaze, and admits he was mesmerized by how beautiful the kill was. The ghost busts out laughing, mocking this absolute freak behavior. Then the ghost analyzes Gongja's copy ability, noting that since it duplicates rather than steals the sword, Saint must have his own spectral buddy. The spirit floats in close, eager to see who takes the crown, Gongja or the Sword Saint. He vows to train Gongja to not just match, but completely eclipse his rival. The next morning, the ghost screeches at Gongja to wake up. Gongja begs for 5 more minutes, but the spirit screams that the Sword Saint might be clearing the 10th floor while Gongja is drooling on his pillow. Gongja desperately jams a pillow over his ears. The ghost threatens to belt out a folk song from his era, claiming a single verse once made 33 soldiers' heads pop like balloons. Gongja checks his phone. It is 4 in the morning. The ghost scoffs that even bugs are grinding by now, and since Gongja is lower than a bug, he needs to rise before the sun. Gongja grumbles that the spirit is just bored because the dead don't sleep. The ghost snaps back, calling Gongja a zombie who sucks at dying. Gongja finally drags himself up, annoyed. 3 days fly by. Gongja grinds, shadowing the Sword Saint's moves while keeping his distance. The ghost mocks Gongja's learning curve, calling his talent a bottomless pit, but Gongja sticks to the spirit's brutal regimen. The ghost decides Gongja needs premium lessons, and tells him to go hit the lottery to fund it. Gongja heads to the Merchants Association, the only spot in Babylon, dealing in lottery tickets. This guild is run by the Countess, a hunter with a broken skill, allowing trade between the tower and the outside world. She basically owns the economy. Gongja slides his ticket over. The clerk scans it and announces, Gongja just hit the jackpot first prize. The ghost roasts the clerk's goofy cat-eared hat, assuming the guild leader has weird taste. Gongja keeps a poker face. He already knew the result because the ticket is from last week. The clerk pages Arthur Taylor, the legendary caretaker of gold. Arthur is a heavy hitter in the guild, and escorts Gongja to the penthouse, a zone reserved for VIPs. Gongja finally feels like a big shot. Inside the VIP suite, Gongja eyes the loot, 53,000 gold coins. That converts to roughly 5.2 billion in his home currency. Our boy is absolutely floored, but the ghost warns him, walking around with that much cash is a death wish, so Gongja decides to stash it in the guild vault. He asks Arthur for a secure room within the association and demands total anonymity. If the media comes sniffing for the winner, Arthur needs to block them. Arthur agrees, though he looks slightly peeved. The ghost notes that Gongja is finally using his brain. He points out that guilds offer armor and backup, resources the Flame Emperor arrogantly ignored, which led to his downfall. Gongja realizes he needs the system to avoid the same tragic fate. As Arthur processes the paperwork, Gongja reflects on the mission. The money is sweet, but the climb is what matters. He recalls the system panel's golden glow, a sight worth more than any coin stack. Gongja drops 10,000 gold on a second-level honorary membership. Now he's got the guild's shield. The ghost smirks, saying Gongja is finally playing 4D chess. Gongja tells the spirit to quit calling him an idiot. The ghost chuckles, noting that Gongja looks genuinely happy. Gongja nods. He realizes the pieces are falling into place, cash protection and a master plan fueled by his spectral mentor. Gongja is locked in eyes on the prize, conquering the tower and serving up some cold revenge. But as they step out, the Sword Emperor kills the vibe. The ghost reminds him that premium upgrades aren't free. Since the tuition is covered, it's time to pay up for the real power leveling. Gongja raises an eyebrow. What do I need to go headhunting for a tutor now? The ghost plays dumb, floating around like he doesn't have a clue. Tutor kid, the answer is literally staring you in the face. He explains Gongja needs a stat boost like a cracked elixir to juice his strength, or a secret technique scroll. Suddenly the ghost gets right in Gongja's grill. Actually scratch the scroll. At your scrub level, reading ancient arts would be like reading alien code. You wouldn't get it. That leaves one option, elixirs, the top-tier god mode stuff. Gongja, getting annoyed, asks, okay, how broken are these potions? The ghost hypes up the Castle of Alchemy and the Guild of Doctors. These guys brew liquid miracles. Best in the game. Gongja sweats. That sounds like it's going to cost a kidney. The ghost leans in and whispers a number that nearly stops Gongja's heart. Panic sets in, and Gongja takes off sprinting. Are you insane? Gongja yells. I could blow my entire life savings and only get 4 measly bottles. The ghost shrugs. Hey, if we hustle, maybe we snag a bulk deal for 5. Gongja ignores him, breathless, begging the spirit to slow down. Then, the Sword Emperor freezes midair. Gongja skids to a halt, irritated. What now? Why'd you slam the brakes? The ghost's face goes dark. Hide. Now. He grimaces. I might have forgotten a tiny detail. Gongja realizes something is wrong. The air gets heavy. They spot a figure in the distance, and the blood drains from their faces. The Sword Saint, the ghost, hisses. He shops here. Gongja flares up. You forgot to mention the final boss is a regular. That's something you put in the brochure. Suddenly, the Sword Saint stops. He turns his head, scanning. Gongja dives behind a dumpster, holding his breath, heart hammering against his ribs. This is bad. If the Saint spots him, it's game over. Absolute catastrophe. But then the Saint loses interest and keeps moving. Gongja exhales, trembling. I'm the protagonist, and I'm cowering behind trash. Pathetic. The ghost cuts in. Bad news, kid. If he's here, he's clearing the shelves. He's here for the elixirs too. They scramble toward the shop. The ghost peeks around the corner and screams internally. No, he's walking in. We're cooked, the ghost groans. Too slow. That shop had the best loot, and he's gonna buy out the stock. Gongja knows he can't walk into the same store as the Saint. Too risky. He whips out his phone. He starts scrolling frantically through the hunter rankings. He's hunting for a hidden gem, but not in the top 20. He swipes past the top 50. Top 100 nada. Come on, he mutters. Top 300. The ghost looks at him like he's lost his mind. You think you'll find quality in the bargain bin. Gongja smirks, pocketing his phone. Exact opposite. We're about to get the good stuff for pennies. The ghost is stunned. Gongja spins around, grinning. I know a pharmacist who's totally broken, and she costs next to nothing. The ghost floats after him as they head into the slums. Is it just me, or are we heading into the danger zone? The locals glare at Gongja with suspicion, but he struts through the grime. The ghost is skeptical. A genius living in this dump. Really. Not just talented, Gongja corrects. A legit prodigy. The ghost isn't buying it. What kind of prodigy lives in a shack? As they get deeper into the alley, Gongja hears an old man grumbling nearby. He catches the guy side-eyeing him, probably thinking Gongja is crazy for talking to thin air. Little does the old guy know this crazy kid is walking around with a bankroll. Are you sure this is the spot? The ghost asks. Suddenly, a shout echoes through the alley. Hey, hands off the lab equipment. Gongja stops. Bingo, we're here. A man's voice booms. It's been 6 months. I want my money. A girl with green hair is desperate, blocking his path. Please, if you take that, I can't work. I won't even be able to eat. The thug signals his goons to strip the place. She begs, tears in her eyes. 1 week turned into a month, the thug barks. And a month turned into half a year. Time's up. He snatches something from her grip. She clings to it. Wait, the mixture isn't done. He shoves her away. Quit playing scientist, he sneers, walking off. She hits the dirt, watching her life's work get hauled away. Locals whisper that the shop was doomed anyway, too expensive. The girl screams back. It's not expensive. I barely charge over cost. You idiots won't find potions this pure anywhere else in Babylon. With a dramatic gasp, she clutches her chest, acting totally offended. You people should be thanking me for even setting up shop in a dump like this. The customer scoffs and walks away, muttering hopeless under his breath. Instantly, her pride vanishes and she's pleading, wait, just buy 1 bottle. It's my special strength brew. No dice. The Sword Emperor points a spectral finger at the green-haired girl. Seriously, this loser is the genius you were hyping up. Our boy fires back. Yeah, what if she is? The ghost looks thunderstruck. Kid, do your eyes work? Look at her. Gongja ignores him, approaching the girl, sobbing in the dirt. He drops to one knee, voice steady. Hey, you still selling? To him, she isn't some psycho or a failure. She is the alchemist, the woman who will claw her way to rank 5 and rule the Alchemy Castle Guild. The girl scrambles up, dusting herself off with sudden ferocity. I can make anything. How big is the job, she asks. Gongja drops the bomb. I'm thinking somewhere in the ballpark of 20,000 gold. Her jaw drops. Internally, our boy is playing 4D chess, securing ties with future legends. Before they hit the big time, it's like buying stock in a golden goose for pennies. He tilts his head. You okay? You taking the job or not? He is locking this investment down before she even smells the ranking charts. Flustered, she invites Gongja and his invisible ghost passenger into her shack. She pulls the handle, and the whole door unhinges, crashing down, revealing a total pigsty inside. Gongja tries to be polite about the chaos, but the Sword Emperor is practically gagging, questioning if the place is a biohazard, and if her potions will kill them. They sit at a rickety table, and the girl stares at Gongja. You serious about the 20,000? Gongja doesn't blink. Cash up front. She hesitates, then caves, admitting she is drowning in financial trouble. Seeing the desperation in her eyes, Gongja gives her access. Head to my vault. Take what you need. I'll clear it with the Traders Association. But hey, cap it at 20,000 gold. My pockets aren't bottomless. A massive weight lifts off her shoulders. She preps her notepad but throws up a hand. Just so we're clear, I don't cook narcotics. That's my hard line. Gongja nods. Relax, everything's legit. Meanwhile, the Sword Emperor is eyeing her clutter with disdain and starts rattling off a nightmare grocery list for Gongja to repeat. Write this down. 23 reagents. Start with the eyes of a balloon cat and the scalp of a giant sandworm. The girl freezes. She knows exactly what this is and the insane skill level it demands, because every single ingredient has to be processed at the exact same moment. No refining, no mistakes. She gets it, the Sword Emperor admits, actually sounding impressed. Gongja catches the vibe and grins, feeling good about his bet. So he asks, what's the ETA on this brew? Give me 4 days, she says. Maybe less if I didn't have this junk equipment. Gongja nods, thinking of the legend she becomes, and agrees to the timeline. As they step out, the Sword Emperor is back on his hater energy. You really trust this amateur? Gongja stands his ground. Watch. 10 years from now, she's the master alchemist. The ghost looks personally insulted. Pfft, she's gonna take your gold and skip town, kid. Cut to 4 days later. Boom. She delivers 30 bottles. That is a massive haul. Gongja runs the numbers. That is a solid 30-day supply. And the potency, 15 times stronger than the trash they sell in stores. The Sword Emperor goes quiet, eating humble pie, and grumbles. All right, how did you know? Gongja shrugs. Gut feeling. She's got talent, and she's got heart. Truth is, he remembers the timeline where she stood tall during the city inferno, spitting in the face of the Flame Emperor. a true genius. Gongja extends a hand. Let's be partners. She shakes it, swearing he is now her VIP client. Next morning, Gongja gears up for the third floor. This is not a tutorial anymore. It is the real deal. Down the hatch, the Sword Emperor commands. Gongja swallows the brew, surprisingly decent like mild lemon and honey. Then it hits, a spike of agony in his chest. Sweat pours off him instantly. Relax, the ghost says. That means it's kicking in. It is forcing his senses open, amplifying the aura dormant inside every hunter. Gongja gasps, reeling from the sensory overload, the world blurring into double vision. The Sword Emperor chuckles, enjoying the show. Nobody said mastering aura was a walk in the park. Control this and you win. Lose it and you're toast. Crack. A monster manifests right behind him. Move, screams the Sword Emperor. Unless you have a death wish. Trial by fire. He has to manifest his aura now under extreme duress. Sweat blinds him. The ghost watches him flounder. Pathetic, the spirit spits. You can't even grasp the basics. You're worthless. The words cut deeper than any blade. But Gongja grits his teeth. He swallows the insult, fueled by desperate ambition. Whining won't level him up, especially when he remembers the ghost's dark logic. If your life sucks that much, just end it. That philosophy chills him. It is a slippery slope to becoming a murderer. And deep down he is terrified of what this old ghost really has planned for him. Gongja knows he's on thin ice, one more kill on his record, and the Sword Emperor might just execute him personally. Suddenly, a hulking green nightmare bursts onto the scene, roaring like a beast from hell. It's an orc, and its lightning-fast ambush forces Gongja to ditch his thoughts and lock in. He weaves through the monster's club swings, realizing the world has slowed down to a crawl around him. That's the high-grade stimulant working its magic, overclocking his senses. But even with the speed buff, his combat style feels incomplete. Desperate, Gongja tries to channel his aura, recalling the ghost's lecture on driving energy straight into his legs. Sounds simple on paper, right? But in the heat of battle, it's a nightmare. He angles his stance, praying he can steer the flow. Crimson sparks erupt from his neck to his knee jolt, starting his nervous system like a car battery. Smoke actually starts rising from his skin, as he forces raw power through undeveloped muscles. It's agony, but Gongja barely sidesteps the orc's next skull-crushing slam. The earth trembles from the impact. He scrambles back legs, pumping only to realize he's literally fighting with his eyes closed. Instinct takes over, but every dodge drains his stamina bar. Watching from the sidelines, the Sword Emperor analyzes Gongja's sloppy form and shakes his head. The kid has no internal pathways for the aura. Imagine trying to drive a Ferrari through a dense jungle. No roads, just chaos. If he clears those meridians, his power would skyrocket. Gongja tries to process the advice while fighting for his life. Because the orc isn't waiting for a timeout, at least the sensory potion is letting him feel the energy flow now. Most noobs take years to sense aura, but this elixir is a cheat code. The beast winds up for another haymaker, and Gongja phases out of range at the last second, letting the club smash harmlessly into the dirt. He remembers the Emperor's tip. Low-tier mobs run on basic AI scripts. Watch them closely, and you can predict every move before they make it. Next step, explosive speed. He tries to ignite the aura in his legs again, but it feels like liquid fire tearing through his veins. Flashbacks hit him hard, the memory of the Sword Saint decapitating him instantly. He was dead before his brain even registered the strike. That trauma reminds him of the massive skill gap, but it also reminds him of his ultimate trump card: he can't stay dead. Infinite respawns mean infinite chances to grind XP. Fueled by determination, Gongja locks his focus. The orc swings down, Gongja ducks, forcing the energy down. A faint crimson ring manifests around his feet as he steels himself for the counterattack. The Sword Emperor watches in silence, intrigued by the kid's grit. Gongja unsheathes a wicked green dagger from his belt and blitzes the monster. Orc hide is like armor, but he drives the blade straight into its throat, red lightning crackling around the wound, fighting the recoil. He channels the Emperor's voice, focus the aura at the tip, maximum penetration. His body screams in protest. He's literally ripping his own energy channels open, but he pushes through, desperate for the kill. The monster roars, but Gongja silences it with a savage stab to the eye. The beast collapses, leaving our MC gasping for air. The ghost floats over, assessing the damage. Gongja looks ready to pass out, totally drained from mana exhaustion. Tears of pain blur his vision, and he mentally curses this brutal training arc. The old man offers a rare compliment on his cunning, but immediately roasts his trash aura control. Gongja slumps against the orc corpse, feeling absolutely wrecked. Then, the Emperor drops a bombshell. If you're hurting that bad, just die and reset. You've got a free respawn right. Coming from anyone else, that's insanity. But for Gongja, it's a valid strategy. Still, he hesitates, worried that dying might glitch his kill count or trigger a penalty. But the Sword Emperor interrupts, explaining a loophole to keep his record clean. He schemes up a plan where the next death won't cost him anything. Before Gongja can even debate it, another orc ambush. Too exhausted to dodge, he freezes. Crunch. Pain explodes, then darkness. The familiar "you died" text flashes. And just like that, he's back. Standing in that void between life and death. The system notification pops up, time rewound. 24 hours. His memories of the Flame Emperor and Sword Saint are intact. But then, a new holographic window appears. Condition met. He's unlocked the ability to copy a skill from the orc who killed him. And looking at the stats, it's broken. Gongja and the Sword Emperor stare at the screen, jaws on the floor. This isn't just a skill, it's a game changer, a total meta breaker. Gongja stands there baffled by his own luck. Why is the tower handing out S-tier loot so easily? The Sword Emperor is actually salty about it. He can't believe a rookie is getting god-tier potential handed to him on a silver platter, while his own legendary skills get ignored. But while the ghost rages, our suicidal MC doesn't hesitate. He eyes the floating skill cards and blindly grabs one, hoping RNG is on his side, since he has no clue what he's doing. The Sword Emperor hovers over his shoulder, totally baffled. Why that card? You blind or just stupid? There's gotta be S-tier loot in this pile. Gongja shrugs. I'm staring at cardboard backs, genius. I can't tell the trash from the treasure. That's when the ghost realizes the obvious. He's floating behind the deck. He can see the front of every single card. Since he's a spirit with zero physical form, he can zip around and read the fine print on every skill before Gongja even touches them. Gongja's eyes practically glow. This is a game changer. If the Sword Emperor acts as a cheat sheet, Gongja can dodge the dud skills completely and zero in on the overpowered ones. Gongja is vibrating with excitement. The Sword Emperor sighs but agrees to the deal. With one condition: I'm reading the description once. You miss it, that's on you. He floats to the first card and starts analyzing. First up. Yikes. Image is a volcano blowing its top while two orcs are holding hands. It shows them wandering a wasteland, apparently cranking out babies at record speed to survive the harsh environment. The text emphasizes rapid reproduction. It's an F-rank skill called Blessing of Reproduction. Gives a tiny stat boost, but the side effect: you feel like you're in a sauna 365 days a year. Hard pass. Next card. The Emperor squints. Okay, this one has orcs dressed like hype beasts, speaking in some weird street slang. They end every sentence with chick or chiik. Skill name is chiik chick. Also, F-rank. Gongja grimaces. They both sound like garbage. The Sword Emperor laughs. If I wasn't here, you probably would have picked the cringy orc rapper skill by accident. Gongja frowns. Is the breeding skill any better? They're both bottom-tier trash. Neither helps me survive a fight. The Emperor floats closer. Look, if you desperately want orc powers, the chiik chick thing might at least be entertaining to watch. Lesser of two evils, I guess. Before the ghost can finish his sentence, Gongja slams his hand down. He selects chiik chick. The system blares skill copied. The Sword Emperor explodes with rage. You impatient moron, I had a strategy. You ruined the plan. Too late. The choice is locked. Fade to black. Gongja jolts awake on a plush bed in the safety zone. A blue hologram pops up, confirming he acquired the skill with 0 penalties. The Sword Emperor is clutching his head, mourning the missed opportunity for a better power. Gongja ignores the drama bouncing on the mattress. Man, the Merchant Guild doesn't cheap out on the furniture. He feels surprisingly zen after the hellish training he just survived. The Emperor calls him soft, but Gongja tunes him out. Standing up, breaks over. Let's go hunting. He completely brushes off the ghost's lecture about rest and recovery. We're hitting the 3rd floor hunting grounds. The Sword Emperor blocks his path. You fool, you need 6 months of meditation. That's the only way to stabilize your aura and fix your broken body. Gongja shakes his head. I don't have 6 months. He taps his chest, reminding the ghost of his broken ability, Returner's Clock. I can die infinite times. I don't need to heal. I just reset. The Sword Emperor argues that discipline beats suicide tactics, but Gongja is already walking. He wants to grind experience against real monsters, pushing his aura to the limit in actual combat. They warp to the 3rd floor, a dense forest crawling with orcs. Target acquired: an orc gripping a massive axe. The Emperor hopes Gongja will retreat and meditate, but the kid draws his dagger, eyes locked on the prey. A faint shimmer of aura wraps around his body. He analyzes the monster, realizing the orc moves in slow motion compared to his enhanced perception. Time to test the meme skill. He opens his mouth and barks chiik. The orc freezes, totally bewildered. Did this human just speak street orc? That split second of confusion is all Gongja needs. He dashes an aura flaring around his blade. Slash. A clean cut across the jugular. Green blood sprays like a fountain, and the monster collapses before it can even lift its axe. The Sword Emperor is appalled. That was cheap. Where's the honor? You just confused him with gibberish. The ghost lectures him on how orcs have a rich culture and shouldn't be mocked. He probably thought you were a deformed orc cousin. Gongja wipes his blade, ignoring the moral high ground. He chuckles, mocking both the dead orc and the angry ghost. The Sword Emperor stomps the air in frustration, furious that the tower actually rewarded such a dirty trick. Gongja shrugs. It worked. Fast kill. That's all that matters. Cut to 1 week later. 5th floor hunting grounds. Gongja stands before the boss, the Goblin King. He activates the skill and launches himself, screeching in the sacred High Goblin dialect. The king's eyes go wide, shocked that a human knows the royal tongue. The hesitation is fatal. Gongja buries his dagger in the king's neck, sending a geyser of green fluid into the air. He rips the blade out, thinking, finally, this guy was actually tough. He stands over the corpse, the strongest enemy he's faced all week. He closes his eyes, offering a silent prayer. The Sword Emperor rolls his eyes. Oh, save the drama. Gongja holds up 6 fingers. 6 coins. I died 6 times to nail this run. In his mind, 1 coin equals 1 life. He paid the price, so he earned the victory. The Sword Emperor taps Gongja's forehead. Stop acting like a martyr. But Gongja isn't listening. He stares at his reward, a new F-rank skill card for Goblin High Speech, paid for in blood. The Emperor scoffs. Goblins, humans, same trash, different skin. But Gongja smiles, clutching the black and white orb that proves he won. Sword Emperor brushes it off like it's nothing. Suddenly, a system alert pings Gongja's stats are skyrocketing. Then blinding light floods their vision. Crimson sparks dance around his body as the system confirms the level up. Gongja is grinning ear to ear. His skill slot just got a massive expansion. Staring at his hands, he feels the surge of his new rank. The system chimes in with praise, but Sword Emperor is eyeing those red sparks suspiciously. Is that blood or fire? Gongja assumes it's just the level up effect, but the ghost corrects him. That glow isn't random. It's an aura tethered to a trauma or a core memory. He brings up the Flame Emperor, the guy who literally murdered Gongja, and his signature fire aura. It clicks for Gongja. According to Sword Emperor, your aura exposes what's burying itself deep in your soul. And Gongja's, that looks like blood, not fire. When Gongja asks about the Sword Saint's aura, the spirit drifts into a story about a kid stranded in the mountains. To survive, the kid just kept climbing. He became obsessed with the moonlight, convinced that even in the dark there was beauty worth fighting for. Gongja listens, not really vibing with the philosophy, so they drop it and move on. The spirit claps his hands. 5th floor cleared. Time to hustle. But our boy raises a hand to stop the momentum. He wants to skip straight to the 10th floor boss. Sword Emperor calls him arrogant, but the protagonist doubles down. He's got this. The ghost asks if he realizes top-tier hunters spend years stuck there. Gongja doesn't blink. He proposes a bet. If he can't crush the 10th floor boss using just 2 coins, he will officially bow down and call Sword Emperor master. The spirit is shook. You used 6 coins on the Goblin King, but Gongja thinks the old ghost is underestimating him. He's ready to gamble it all. He just needs the boss's skill intel. And if Gongja wins, Sword Emperor has to stop the disrespect. Sword Emperor snaps, calling Gongja's ability a cheap cheat code. Copying skills doesn't make you a sword master. He predicts a total fail. Gongja is going to be a student forever. Gongja smirks. Better get ready to serve a new boss, old man. They burst out laughing, but to the bystanders it looks like Gongja is cackling at thin air. Total psycho vibes. Cut to the 10th floor entrance. A knight blocks the path. You can't go in there solo, kid. Even a squad from the Black Dragon Guild got wiped. Gongja shrugs it off. Rules say any hunter can try right. The knight is stressing he doesn't want Gongja's blood on his hands. Sword Emperor suggests just shoving the guy aside. But Gongja plays a different card. He looks the guard in the eye, feigns empathy, and drops a bomb. I want to die. That hits them like a truck. Even Sword Emperor is confused. Gongja spins a sob story. Lost his partner last year, diagnosed with a terminal illness. I'm on borrowed time. I'm not rotting in a hospital bed. I'm going out fighting monsters. He shoves his treatment money into the knight's hands and begs to pass unregistered. No names, no records. The knight totally played tears up and steps aside. The gate creaks open and Gongja struts through with his ghostly companion. Welcome to the 10th floor Flame Emperor territory. But Gongja isn't just here to clear it. He's here to shatter records. He steps through the doorway, eyes locked on a goal, way bigger than anything that Fire Freak accomplished. The room is crawling with creepy dolls, their eyes glowing in manic colors. Play with us, they chime. The game is hide and seek. Gongja and Sword Emperor brace themselves. System alert, boss stage initiated. He accepts the invite and a cheeky message pops up, wishing him good luck. Flashback time. The Black Dragon Guild has been the apex predator since the tower first opened its doors. But today, humiliation, their 30th wipeout. Paparazzi swarm the guild leader flashes, blinding her demanding answers. The stunning purple-haired leader waves a device, claiming their skills were perfect. It was just bad RNG, she insists. Contrast that with the Flame Emperor. He's posing with fireworks exploding behind him, basking in the glory of his 10th floor clear. Luck is a skill, you morons. He mocks the losers on live TV. History would remember this as the pushover declaration. The world wondered how he was the only one to survive. Back to our suicidal hero. He is trapped in a burning mansion infested with dolls controlled by the Hellfire Maiden. The win condition is simple. Find the one real doll hidden in this estate. Destroy it. Game over. But the fire, it's not normal. It is aura-infused hellfire. Even with his defenses, Gongja has 10 minutes before he's toast. Flame Emperor survived because his fire aura made him immune. Gongja throws up a shield to buy time. Sword Emperor scoffs, telling him he's been surviving on pure dumb luck. Gongja begs to differ. Does getting roasted alive look like luck to you? Sword Emperor checks the clock. Time is ticking. The Sword Saint could tank this for 30 minutes easy. He is waiting until he can handle an hour, unlike some idiot who rushed in unprepared. You have got 2 coins left, kid. What is the plan? Gongja grins. Plan A, die once. Figure it out, genius. The ghost drops a hard truth. Dying isn't going to buff his aura stats. He claims there are only 2 ways to beat this nightmare level. Option 1, get insanely lucky and spot the real doll. Option 2, master his aura control to tank the inferno until he hunts it down. Sword Emperor warns that 2 coins won't buy a victory here, but Gongja claps back. He insists there's a third option. The old ghost is too blind to see. He stops strategizing and lunges. Gongja grabs the nearest creepy doll and crushes its tiny head in his grip. Instant fail. The thing melts into sludge, screeching that he picked wrong. With 5 seconds on the clock, Gongja questions the twisted logic of this stage. The spirit scoffs logic. In the tower, please. He tells Gongja to go complain to the idiot who gave such OP powers to a sweaty, weak loser. Time's up. The flames swallow our boy whole. He's screaming in agony, begging the fire to just hurry up and end his misery. Meanwhile, the Sword Saint is roasting him, calling Gongja a total masochist for diving headfirst into a painful death with absolutely zero plan. No strategy, just vibes and weirder than the tower itself. Gongja finally flatlines. Bing, a system alert pops up, skill condition unlocked through death. Back in the void, he asks the spirit, remember our deal. The ghost points to a glowing golden card, an S-tier beauty, usable only inside the barrier. Grab it, the ghost urges. That card unleashes the same hellfire that just cooked him. But Gongja doesn't move. He freezes. The gears are turning. Something feels sus. He replays the memory of that doll, melting in his palm. Sword Emperor looks confused. What's the holdup? Gongja ignores him and asks to see the other cards. The spirit sighs and reads off the list some seriously cracked abilities. Gongja's eyes go wide. Plot twist. He snubs the gold and locks in the silver card. The ghost flips out, trying to bully him into taking the S-tier loot. But Gongja stands his ground. This is the one, he says. He's finally cracked the code. Something about the stage mechanics was off. Think about it. Thousands of dolls, but only one is real. The boss doll runs the show and has a fire aura to protect itself. So why weren't the fake dolls burning? Boom. A notification confirms his theory. The skill grants total immunity to fire. It works on any living being or object he chooses. The catch. A massive debuff damage from water and ice attacks spikes by 300%. He accepts the trade-off and secures the power. Time rewinds, dragging him back 24 hours to the start of the loop. He's hype gloating to the Sword Saint, you better call me sir now, but his victory lap gets cut short. A penalty window smacks him in the face. The price of regression. Reliving the killer's trauma. The system ranks it low level, leaving Gongja totally baffled. But the nightmare drags him in anyway, recreating the Hellfire Maiden's pain. A starving little girl approaches a stranger begging for a scrap of bread. Even for scraps, she begs. But he ruthlessly mocks them, labeling them beggars before slamming the door right in her face. She doesn't stop. She hits the next house and the next. Rejection after rejection. Every door stays shut with a new excuse. In the distance, a cold voice mutters about needing someone to haul these stray orphans to the dump, treating them like literal vermin. Suddenly, bam, she crashes hard into a stranger. Terrified, she stammers out an apology, but he doesn't snap at her. Instead, he gently rests a hand on her head, seeing the starvation and agony in her eyes. He asks, "Where are your parents?" Claiming to be a doctor, a savior, he guides her to his home. He promises a sanctuary where other kids are already waiting to play. But the second they arrive, the vibe shifts. The gate slams shut. Click. He throws her straight into a cage. Trembling and starving, the girl begs to leave. The man stares daggers, calling her a beast. To him, orphans are nothing but livestock. Useless eaters, he spits. Blade glinting in the light, he drags her out of the cage, claiming he knows exactly what her kind is worth. He calls them parasites draining the city. He frames himself as a guardian, a doctor performing a surgery to purge this place of its sickness. A permanent solution. He hacks. Cut to the fanatic leader preaching to his brainwashed flock, claiming the orphan's hunger is the root of all evil. A follower raises a blade over a trembling child. This lunatic screams that he's saving the world by sacrificing these kids to a higher power. The girl watches paralyzed with horror as the boy gets brutally stabbed. One final gut-wrenching scream, and then dead silence. Later, the girl is huddled in a cage sobbing and asking why this monster keeps taking her friends. Outside, she overhears a chilling command they need, fresh bodies for the next ritual. She clutches her knees, unable to comprehend the sheer cruelty of it all. Meanwhile, Gongjia materializes in the room absolutely shook. He frantically asks if the Sword Emperor is witnessing this nightmare. The Sword Emperor confirms it, though he didn't realize Gongjia had followed him in. Gongjia clutches his temples, realizing the catch: only their minds have traveled here. They are ghosts in this memory, powerless to stop the tragedy. The Sword Emperor is seething with rage, disgusted that such evil exists. He demands justice for these atrocities. Gongjia stands near the cage, piecing it together. Is this trauma the origin story of the Floor 10 boss? It's wild to think a human's tragic past can twist into a dungeon monster. The Sword Emperor corrects him. Not every beast is born from trauma, but some bosses are manifestations of real events from other dimensions. Just like heroes and other entities are summoned from far-off worlds. This phenomenon actually becomes the norm starting on floor 11. Gongjia asks why this lore was never dropped before, and the Emperor shrugs. Gongjia never asked. On top of that, he has never actually laid eyes on the true genesis of a boss. All he knows is that these nightmares warp in from a completely different timeline. They watch in frozen silence as the candle slips from his grip. In a heartbeat, the estate is engulfed in a raging inferno, triggering absolute chaos as people scramble to salvage their possessions from the flames. Gongjia screams into the void, begging the phantoms to save the children trapped in the basement, but he's a ghost to them, unseen, unheard, and totally invisible. Down in the dark, tiny hands grip the cage bars as the inferno roars closer. These aren't warriors. They're starving babies, sobbing for a meal and a friend, not a fiery grave. The horror abruptly cuts to black, and Gongjia gasps, snapping back to reality, with his heart hammering like he just clawed his way out of a night terror. The Sword Emperor drops a cold truth bomb. Nothing you could have done. That icy detachment hits Gongjia in the gut, making him physically nauseous, and he lashes out, calling the spirit a heartless monster. But the Emperor counters, explaining, these kids are ghosts of a tragedy from a different dimension long gone. If this were live in the tower, sure, maybe Gongjia could play hero. But this, it's just a playback of an old scar. He orders Gongjia to quit moping, hunt down the boss doll, destroy it, and move on. But Gongjia isn't about to go full murder hobo on the boss, without understanding the story first. That's the Flame Emperor's style: burn first, ask questions never. Gongjia refuses to become that kind of psychopath. Standing before the estate doors, the Emperor nags him to wipe the boss and clear the stage already. Gongjia claps back hard, accusing the old ghost of being just as frozen-hearted as the Flame Emperor. Then it clicks, he recalls the S-Rank intel: no exit unless the Master permits it. Yet the Black Dragon Guild escaped this floor, without defeating the boss. That implies the entity let them walk. Gongjia pieces the puzzle together. The boss isn't looking for a fight, it just wants a playmate. Stepping into a massive hall overflowing with creepy dolls, Gongjia senses the truth. Every single puppet holds a fragment of a child's soul. He decides to give them peace not by the sword, but by playing their game, hide and seek. He activates his aura, wrapping himself in flames that don't burn him but can liberate the spirits. The dolls watch in awe, whispering that the heat doesn't hurt him. A small voice asks if he's joining the game. Gongjia squeezes his eyes shut, starts the countdown, and declares with a grin, I never lose, at hide and seek. He hunts them down one by one. It's grueling work, but every time he tags a doll, it fades into light, finally free. Diving deeper into the mansion's belly, he returns to that nightmare basement. And there, sitting alone, is the final doll. A tiny girl trapped in the cage, looking exhausted with one eye permanently closed. She looks up hopeful, asking if he's here to play too. Gongjia gently places a hand on her head. Found you? He whispers. She smiles, thanks him, and dissolves into starlight. A vision flashes before his eyes, the real child finally at peace. Ping the system announces the 10th floor is cleared, and Gongjia officially enters the boss stage. A panel pops up. Rewards are locked and loaded, set to drop 24 hours after he sets foot on the 11th floor. Back outside, the mood is heavy. The spirit notes, Gongjia looks wrecked, but reminds him that clearing a hidden scene is a legendary feat, and guarantees insane loot. Gongjia buries his face in his hands, muttering that the Emperor just doesn't get it. It's not about the loot. He's grieving, and it kills him, that the Sword Emperor lacks the humanity to feel it too. Gongjia confesses he hates this twisted world. He despises bosses born from tragedy, villains made of tears, like the girl they just set free. The spirit sighs from the back, noting that tragedy follows humanity wherever they go. Silence hangs heavy between Gongjia and the Emperor, until the Sword Emperor suddenly clutches his head, shouting that this depressing vibe is killing his buzz. He slaps a hand on Gongjia's shoulder, and drops a rare compliment, you were amazing, kid. Gongjia looks confused, so the Emperor clarifies he means the unique, empathetic way Gongjia handled the boss. Gongjia calls it weird coming from him, but the Emperor insists he gives credit where it's due. Gongjia didn't get lucky, he won with pure skill. We're partners, the ghost declares. We share the wins. Right on cue, the sky explodes into a dazzling display of fireworks. A massive server announcement booms, 10th floor cleared on a Friday. The gates to the 11th floor unlock in exactly 24 hours. The chat goes crazy. People are freaking out over fireworks visible from the first floor. One user posts from the third floor hunting grounds, claiming they can see the lights and hear the victory notification all the way up there. Meanwhile, our boy and his ghost mentor check the countdown. The Sword Emperor gets nostalgic, saying this sight rings a bell. Gongja nods in agreement. Second time for me, he murmurs. Checking the community forums, the net is buzzing. Everyone agrees it can't be the Black Dragon Guild, since their top brass were just spotted sipping lattes at a ground floor cafe. The Pantheon Guild is the next guess, but apparently they're priests. And the infamous cult interrogator are tied up elsewhere. Sword Saint Nope. Someone just uploaded a pic of the old man chugging milk. The entire tower is baffled. Who is the mystery clearer? The spirit grins, asking Gongja how it feels to graduate from a nobody extra. To the main character of the show, Gongja stares at the glowing screen, admitting that right now, he feels like he has the world in his palm. The spirit cackles, teasing that he's getting ahead of himself. It's only the 10th floor. But he admits with a smirk, Gongja is the closest any hunter from this dimension has ever gotten to the peak. Gongja's eyes harden. He's not stopping until he hits the roof. Suddenly, an armored dude rushes up, breathless. Hey, did you do it? Gongja plays the innocent card, acting totally clueless. So the guy clarifies, the 10th floor clear. He shoves his phone in Gongja's face, pointing out the stats. Gongja is the only registered challenger today, and the whole tower is losing its mind over him. Gongja calmly taps the guy's shoulder. Hypothetically, if it was me, what happens then? Desperate, the man begs for a name. Gongja just smiles, reminding him of a past favor. Don't you remember the 100 gold I gave you? The guy is practically begging for a cool handle, but Gongja shuts him down. Dude has nothing for him. He leaves the man stunned in his tracks, while the Sword Emperor starts glazing him up again. Claiming names carry power, so now the whole tower is going to be headhunting for Gongja. But our protagonist just snaps his fingers. He didn't forget the receipt he needs to cash. He reminds the ghost, you promised to call me master if I soloed the boss using only 2 coins. He screams it out. He executed that bet to perfection, clearing the 10th floor with exactly 2 coins in his pocket. The Sword Emperor looks salty, trying to pull the We're Partners card to wiggle out of it. He grabs Gongja's shoulders, trying to logic check him, saying partners are equals. Claiming a legend who crushed 99 floors is on the same level as a rookie attempting the 100th. Gongja hits him with the cool story bro, ignores the rant, and teleports straight to the first floor. He turns his back and demands the Sword Emperor address him as Master Gongja for eternity. A bit later, Gongja is chilling in a cafe, eavesdropping on everyone, hyping up the 10th floor clear. He's sipping coffee and vibing to music while the gossip spreads, with nobody realizing the legend is sitting right next to them. He asks the ghost if the taste of victory hits harder than his caramel macchiato. The Sword Emperor goes silent, so Gongja keeps roasting him. The ghost tries to keep his composure, but finally snaps and asks what Gongja actually wants. He suggests Gongja should snag a new skill, use it to revive the Sword Saint, so he can go back to his prime body. Gongja trolls him, asking if they aren't basically stuck together for life like a married couple. After killing time for about an hour and a half, Gongja decides to switch gears. Mid-sip of his macchiato, he spots a cat. He never expected such a heavy hitter to show up personally, but he plays dumb, petting the kitty like it's just a stray. But his gut tells him this feline is sus. Right on cue. A squad of 5 walks up, asking if he's the infamous hunter Gongja. He flashes his ID, tossing out a line about how long it took them to track him down. Immediately, they're on their phones, dialing headquarters to secure the asset. A rep from the vigilante squad bows, starting his recruitment pitch. Gongja cuts him off. He has 2 non-negotiable rules. First, keep his name out of the press. When they ask about the timeline, he wants total radio silence until the clock hits 0, so he can dodge the paparazzi, before ascending to floor 11. The recruiter nods. Since they are causing a scene, Gongja suggests they let the other customers get served first. They apologize and straight up rent the entire cafe for an hour to buy privacy. They all take a seat with drinks on the table, and the vigilante squad opens with a 10,000 gold signing bonus. A guy from the League of Adventurers laughs in his face, calling that chump change, countering with 20,000 and a leadership role. Then the Gate of 1,000 Faces rep steps up, promising to treat Gongja like royalty. With a 25,000 gold offer, the Pantheon group chimes in, offering a VIP seat at their table. Another suit from the department promises a top-tier position. Gongja reads the room everyone is terrified of, the Sword Saint, that rogue freelancer who refuses to join any guild. The big organizations feel threatened, so if a new powerhouse appears, they need to lock him down immediately. Suddenly, the cat in Gongja's lap speaks up, dropping a bomb 500,000 gold if he signs with the Merchant Alliance. The cat hops down and morphs into a gorgeous woman, revealing herself as the merchant group's boss. Ranked 3rd overall, she tells Gongja he can have the bag plus the title of Vice Guild leader. Gongja smirks, pulls off his headphones and says, "Now you have my attention." The Countess notes his nerves of steel. pointing out he didn't even flinch when her cat form shapeshifted. Gongja shrugs, he sees literal ghosts, so this is nothing. The Countess chuckles, impressed by his chill vibe. Gongja is internally screaming though, wondering how she looks so young for being over 40. He figures, when you're the richest tycoon in the tower, you probably sip on eternal youth potions for breakfast. Every day the vigilante recruiter tries to get a word in, but the Countess shuts him down. He apologizes, asking if a 500,000 gold deposit is a bit extreme. A rival tries to argue, but the Countess gives him a death stare until he crumbles, stuttering an apology. She taps him with her fan, telling him to call his superiors if he wants to keep debating. Unless someone can top 500,000, they can hang around, otherwise she's done wasting breath on them. The room clears out, leaving just the Countess and Gongja. Suddenly, someone starts shouting trash talk from outside. The Countess sighs that guy finally arrived. A furious man with bandages. The leader of the 1,000 Faceless Gate Guild, ranked 5th, storms in with his crew. The cult interrogator, ranked 4th, is right behind him, claiming the other leaders need to own up to their failure for letting Gongja slip away. Miss Paladin, ranked 8th, steps in to check their manners, reminding them their duty is to regulate hunters, not fight. The Black Witch, leader of the Black Dragon Guild, and ranked 2nd, stands there in silence, radiating aura. Gongja can't believe it. The tower's absolute elite are all squeezed into one room. The Countess notes it's been ages since this squad was together, reminiscing about the time they teamed up to clear the 2nd floor. Viper cuts the nostalgia and threatens her. Viper is practically spitting venom, mocking the Countess for trying to solve everything with her wallet, and calling her offer a total joke. The heretic questioner raises a hand, insisting they get some caffeine before talking business. Apparently it is bad etiquette for top-tier guildmasters to raid a cafe, without spending a dime. As they shout out orders, Viper won't quit yapping about the apocalypse. The 10th floor just got conquered, and they are chilling with lattes like the world isn't on fire. The questioner completely ghosts the complaints and orders, with a smile prompting Viper to snap and call him a religious nutjob. The poor cashier looks terrified but rings it up. Once seated, they finally acknowledge the elephant in the room, Gongja, and ask for his order. Gongja casually grabs a menu, mentions he already downed a macchiato, and opts for a hot chocolate instead. He slumps back like he owns the place, fully aware this is an ambush to force him into a guild. Beihu Ryung, the Sword Emperor, whispers in his ear to chill, these heavy hitters are just flexing. Gongja nods mentally. Compared to being literally incinerated, a little social pressure is nothing. The ghost grins, noting that insanity is Gongja's superpower. Gongja shoots back a sarcastic thanks, reminding the spirit he is still on the hook for a debt. Suddenly the Countess chimes in, recalling how Gongja hit the jackpot in her territory. She claims that kind of luck and audacity is exactly what a star needs. Viper scoffs, insisting there is zero chance a nobody cleared the 10th floor solo without being a monster. He wants to cut the crap and sign papers, but the Black Witch interrupts, the game isn't over yet. Current rankings don't mean a thing in the long run. She locks eyes with Gongja and asks point blank, who's it gonna be? She warns that rejecting everyone will trigger a massive media storm they will all have to manage. Gongja asks the consequences of choosing one. She explains it will spark an insane bidding war because conquering the 10th floor proves the tower is still a goldmine to the outside world. It is the perfect bait for fresh meat, attracting a new breed of hunters. Curiosity, she argues, is the fuel that keeps this machine running. Gongja notes the food crisis should stabilize too. The Black Witch nods, admitting that hauling supplies from the 9th floor is becoming a logistics nightmare. The Countess jumps in, mentioning her trade routes are starving for inventory. The witch concludes they need hunters pushing past floor 10 to farm high-tier loot, but to kickstart this, they need a headline. A living, breathing symbol of the new era. Gongja clocks it. The last icon was the Flame Emperor. He recalls the Black Dragon Guild tried to pull a fast one on that guy, though the details are fuzzy. He realizes whoever recruits him now secures the throne, leaving the rest in the dust. Gongja reaches into his pocket, claiming it is too awkward to just pick a favorite. He has got a better way to settle this. He whips out a deck of cards, shuffles like a pro, and drops the bomb. He joins the guild that wins a round of poker. But if he wins, he joins every guild simultaneously. He will wear the badge, but he stays a free agent with equal standing. The Countess snaps her fan open, arching a brow. Does this rookie, who barely cleared a floor, seriously think he sits at the same table as veterans? She calls the audacity amusing and accepts the challenge. The questioner is down, provided the game is clean. Viper sets the ground rule, 0 skills allowed. Instant disqualification for magic users. The Paladin admits her guild is too broke for a bidding war anyway, so a gamble is her best shot. The Black Witch smirks and buys in. Gongja grips the deck and turns to the Sword Emperor, reminding the ghost of their deal, address him as Master Gongja until the game ends. The spirit looks like he wants to die twice, but Gongja commands him to peek at the opponent's hands. He grumbles but complies, promising to act as the ultimate cheat detector. Game on. The Sword Emperor starts feeding intel immediately. First up, he whispers the Countess is sitting on a straight and tells Gongja to fold. Gongja drops the hand instantly, and the ghost drifts behind Viper, signaling Gongja to call. The pressure breaks the snake, and he folds. Gongja stays locked in. When the ghost checks the paladin's hand, he gives the signal, all in. Gongja pushes his chips without hesitation. 30 rounds later, he is undefeated. Viper slams the table, screaming fraud. He points a trembling finger, furious that a filthy F rank is cleaning house. Gongja tilts his head, asking how he checked his stats, casually dropping that he leveled up to E rank yesterday. He thanks the snake for the compliment, then asks if the guy is out of chips. The snake, utterly destroyed, slinks off to the loser's corner. The questioner gives him a cheerful wave, pointing to an espresso he ordered in advance, knowing Viper would crash and burn early. The snake looks ready to murder someone. The Viper snaps, hurling curses at the Inquisitor before collapsing into his chair like a pouting toddler. The clock ticks down and the crowd thins out until only the big three remain: Gongja, Miss Paladin, and the Black Witch. Miss Paladin hits her limit next, slamming her hand onto the felt. She scoffs, admitting she thought her poker face was invincible, then shoots a glare at Gongja. Seriously, are you reading minds over there? Gongja flashes a cryptic, dangerous grin. Maybe it's a skill, he teases. Or maybe I can just see right through you. That hits a nerve. Paladin immediately pushes back from the table to stand. She lets out a heavy sigh, muttering about how terrifying rookies are these days. She drifts over to the Viper, who's still steaming. He accuses her of folding way too early, screaming that Gongja has to be pulling a fast one. Wake up, Paladin counters, completely unimpressed. It was rigged from the jump. No newbie suggests a high-stakes game like this, unless he knows he's walking away with the pot. She points out the subtext: Gongja was basically announcing he'd beat them all without ever getting caught red-handed. Brute force has its place, she lectures, eyeing the muscle head, but sometimes you gotta use your brain cells. The Viper isn't having it, though he starts hollering about his wounded pride. Will pride put dinner on the table? She shoots back. Right on cue, the heretic Inquisitor slides a steaming cup of coffee toward the raging snake. The Inquisitor smirks, joking that if he's got so much pride, he can use it to finish his espresso like a big boy. Back at the table, the Black Witch purrs that things just got a whole lot simpler. Gongja arches a brow. She leans in, sounding way more confident that they can finally cut a deal. She drops her backstory without flinching. She's from Ukraine, and a brutal civil war wiped out her entire family. Since then, she's been a drifter, constantly on the run. It doesn't matter if it's inside the tower or out in the real world, surviving on your own is a nightmare. Gongja flicks a stack of coins into the center, his expression unreadable. Rough story. I get it, he says, cutting to the chase. But what's your point? He drops a truth bomb. Nobody from the first generation had a silver spoon. He knows the struggle he started as a street rat too. The Black Witch locks eyes with him. To her, this tower isn't a dungeon, it's a sanctuary. No one gives a damn about your backstory here, and they grind 24/7 to protect that peace. Inside these walls, language barriers dissolve, and fights stay fair. It's a hell of a lot more civilized than the chaos of the outside world. She admits outsiders look at this place like it's a dumpster fire, but she insists even roses bloom in the dirt. Then, she drops the formalities and hits him with his real name. She warns him the second that timer hits 0, the paparazzi are gonna swarm him like sharks. But Gongja, he just smirks. He lives for the clout. He wants the fame, the jealousy, the whole 9 yards. The witch slams her mug down, realizing he's the polar opposite of the stoic sword saint. Gongja scans the table. He spots the tell she's sitting on a flush. And him, he's got absolutely nothing to counter it. Doesn't matter. He shoves his entire stack into the pot, all in. The witch's eyes go wide. Gongja declares he doesn't need a participation trophy for clearing floor 10. He's eyeing the 20th. The 30th, hell, even the 100th, no matter how long the grind takes. He gets that this tower is their life's work, and he's not here to start beef unnecessarily. They're rivals, sure, but he couldn't care less about their politics or food shortages, or the poverty line. They can slap his face on every billboard if it helps, as long as they bankroll his climb. He just wants to keep leveling up. The witch shakes her head. She misread him completely. He is just like the sword saint, totally insatiable. Gongja teases the corner of his card, and asks if she's flirting or complimenting him. She calls it an insult. People like him are bottomless pits of greed. Showdown time. Cards flip. The Countess calls it witch has the flush, but Gongja, he's rocking a killer full house. Our boy takes the pot, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That insult was exactly what he wanted to hear. He rises from the table, demanding equal standing just as they agreed. The Black Witch shoots back. Is he ready to carry the weight of that privilege? Gongja waves it off. A hunter hunts, a climber climbs. Simple as that. The Black Witch smirks, noting that's some big talk for a rookie. The Sword Emperor chimes in from the spirit realm, cracking a joke that if audacity was a stat, Gongja would be maxed out at level 5. The ghost is just thrilled to have entertainment again, and starts roasting our MC. Gongja tunes out the noise, thinking this legendary hero acts more like a nagging internet troll. The witch catches him heading for the door. Already, yeah, the 11th floor unlocks soon, and he's got prep work to do. She presses him. It's uncharted territory, so how exactly does one prep for the unknown? He drops a hint, revealing that floors 11 through 20 are role-playing stages. The guild leaders freeze stunned. Gongja shrugs. That's the only intel he scraped together. A little perk for clearing floor 10. The Black Witch averts her gaze, muttering that she owes him one for the tip. Gongja and his ghost companion bounce. Cut to later, and the streets are buzzing with confusion. Still zero news on who cleared the 10th floor. The masses are spiraling because even the Sword Saint is denying it was him. The media is radio silent. Meanwhile, rumors are flying that the top guild leaders held a secret summit yesterday. Our boy blends into the mob eyes glued to the giant timer. 11 seconds. The hype in the air is electric. The crowd chants the final seconds. Gongja whips out his phone, refreshing his feed for the official drop. Just as the clock winds down, he hits refresh one last time. Boom. A tsunami of articles hits the web, revealing that he is the hero of the 10th floor. He grins at the screen just as the timer hits 0 and the crowd erupts. A system alert rings out. Training preparations complete. It loops. Suddenly, all eyes shift to a mysterious girl appearing out of nowhere. They scream for her to unlock the next stage. She turns, congratulating them for purifying the hellscape of the previous floors. The newbies are starstruck, calling her an angel. Gongja wonders if she's a deity, but the Sword Emperor scoffs. There are no gods in this place. Just the system doing its thing. Right on cue, the girl drops the quest lore. A world in peril needs heroes to throw down against the Demon King. The objective, challenge the boss and save humanity from extinction. The Time Lord calls it out, goddess or not. That's a pre-recorded message. Gongja raises an eyebrow, asking how he's so sure. The hologram ignores them, instructing everyone to shout, transfer, to accept the mission. Out of nowhere, Sword Saint launches himself at her slash. He cuts her clean in half and her image flickers just a hologram. The glitchy image reboots monotonously, repeating the command say transmit to start. The illusion breaks. The crowd realizes it's a recording. The Sword Emperor chuckles, admitting he pulled that exact move back in his day, so he knew it was an NPC all along. Sword Saint doesn't hesitate. He accepts the quest and vanishes, teleporting straight to floor 11. The crowd gasps. The cult interrogator bursts out laughing, remarking what a lovely day it is to be beaten to the punch by the saint again. He promises a reunion on the other side and fades away. Then, the floodgates open, hunters start warping into the new game level, one by one. The NPC drops a heavy announcement from the 11th floor, all the way to the 20th. Warriors are facing a straight-up test of faith. She tells them to chase the truth, and by doing that, they're gonna unlock the darkest secrets buried inside themselves. Gongja watches the notification low-key impressed. Miss Paladin slides up to him, admitting she has zero clue. What kind of cosmic entity built this tower? But whoever did, they went hard. This message feels personal, but nobody seems to care, she sighs. This is art, the kind of masterpiece people should take a long time to appreciate. She calls the tower and skills absolute miracles, but after 10 floors, everyone's just numb to the magic. Gongja realizes she's actually pretty deep. The Vigilante Guildmaster mentioned that outside the tower, her vibe is all about music. She asks if he'd prefer a girl from the music department. Gongja smirks, firing back that in that case, she's probably never seen a broke day in her life. She cracks up. That is the painful truth. Suddenly, the Sword Emperor cuts in alert mode. On. Watch your back, kid. The vibe is off. Gongja's like, what now? Suddenly, a voice from behind chills him. Are you Hunter Gongja? He spins around. Miss Paladin winces, looks like she accidentally blew his cover. She drops a quick sorry, and says she's bouncing to the 11th floor immediately. Boom. A swarm of reporters engulfs Gongja. He realizes, is that why you walked over here? The vigilante boss says Paladin reads people like books, so he should take this little stunt as a sign she's interested. Gongja demands to know what she figured out. But before dipping, she flashes a mysterious smile. The answer lives in your soul. Poof, she vanishes. Gongja is fuming. Did she just set him up as bait and run? The Sword Emperor gloats, reminding him that she looked sus from day one. The paparazzi start drilling Gongja, begging for secrets on how he cleared the 10th floor. Gongja takes a beat, inhaling deeply, plotting his next move. He needs to hit the 11th floor like yesterday. The press keeps pushing, but he shuts it all down. By declaring he's going to clear the 20th floor, he wishes them luck and triggers the transfer. Zap. Welcome to the 11th floor. Sword Saint arrives and his jaw drops. It is total chaos. A massive battle is already raging. Warriors are fighting desperately to hold back the Demon King's army to save the Aegim Empire. While the insane fight tears up the field, the knights are fired up, because if they retreat, the Empire is finished. Sword Saint tries to process the madness. Suddenly, arrows start raining down on the hunters. Gongja realizes the tutorial is officially over. This is the new normal, constant war. A knight rushes the hunters screaming, "Saviors of the Empire." He raises his blade, begging for backup, saying this spot is the Empire's last lifeline. They have to hold the line, no matter the cost. If they fail, the capital falls. Sword Emperor notes, Gongja is getting sharp using aura to heighten his senses. The knight is practically on his knees, pleading for them to save the Agam Empire. Ding, the system drops the mission, defend the port at all costs. This clash is just step 1 to saving the world. The hunters are freaking out. Is the Demon King actually pulling up? Monsters swarm in, and panic sets in. Sword Saint doesn't know the lore, but he knows the drill: kill everything in sight. Hyped up, the hunters charge into the fray. Gongja calmly pops open his system interface. Notification time. It says he's unlocking his 10th floor reward. Standard prize: patronage of the god of all things. And he scores a map of floors 11 to 20. Sword Emperor yells, "I knew it," a cheat code prize. Then the system drops a hidden reward. Boom. Protection of the human god. Now he can see all NPC skills and locations, from the 11th to the 20th floor. But wait, there is more. Gongja unlocks the patronage of the god of trade, meaning he can snag any item existing on floors 11 to 20. Our boy smirks. This game is all about skill. The Sword Emperor loses it. Skill, that is pure luck, you brat. Now Gongja learns the tower's logic. Floors 1 to 10 were the tutorial city. Floors 11 to 20, that is the real war against the Demon King. He says there are only 2 paths to victory. Be a one-man army strong enough to solo the Legion, or actually lead an army. Sword Emperor asks if Gongja is seriously going for option 2. He doubts Gongja has the chops, asking if he's ever commanded troops. Gongja shrugs. Of course not. But he opens the system panel, and claims he is a quick study. He shoots a look at the Emperor. Didn't you just call this a trash game a second ago? The ghost stands his ground. Still trash, Gongja says he's gonna prove that skill is king. He pulls the NPC list, filtering for the 11th floor only. The top 100, their stats are insane. The Sword Emperor screams in protest. This is broken. You should be grinding to get stronger, not managing a spreadsheet. Ghost Guy claims Gongja is trashing his own reputation, but our MC just smirks. He's not ruining anything, he's strategizing. He orders the system to highlight every NPC with elite command stats. He filters the list down to the big 3, and cross-references their locations on the minimap against his own coordinates. He doubles down on his philosophy. This game isn't about grinding. It's about exploiting mechanics. That average reward he got, about to become S tier thanks to his 2 to 100 IQ play. The Sword Emperor starts roasting him, asking if he genuinely believes he's some kind of genius. Our boy just chuckles and fires back. Being brain dead is a skill too, old man. Gongja beelines for the nearest blue marker on his HUD, tracking down the specific NPC he needs to break the game. He rolls up to Commander Sarbus and asks for a moment. But honestly, the first thing hitting Gongja's mind isn't strategy, it's that Sarbus is rocking a majestic mustache. Logic dictates epic facial hair equals epic skills. Gongja locks eyes with him and drops the pitch. If you respect me as a warrior, I need a massive favor. Sarbus nods, ready to help, but freezes dead in his tracks when he hears the actual request. Gongja asks the commander to straight up murder him. He spins a wild lie about a secret technique, claiming if he dies, a divine power will descend to clutch the win for the army. He sells it hard, calling it a sacrificial ultimate move that guarantees the Empire's victory. The commander looks absolutely horrified. Sarbus refuses to slaughter a warrior who traveled worlds just to help them. But Gongja hits him with the moral dilemma. What's more important, my life or the war? He threatens that if Sarbus won't do the deed, he'll take himself out. He keeps gaslighting the poor guy, insisting this is the only path to save the Empire. I'd rather die by your blade than get chewed on by a monster, he insists. The commander wavers, torn between duty and honor. But he still can't bring himself to do it. After a heavy silence, he finally grips his sword, praying for forgiveness, and promises to make it quick and painless. Before the strike, he asks for our hero's name. Gongja drops his tag and Sarbus covers his face in grief, thanking him on behalf of the entire realm. He raises his blade, declaring Gongja a true legend, and swings, sending our boy straight back to the lobby. Mission accomplished, Sarbus's skills are now copied. Cut to the battlefield, everyone's jaws hit the floor as Gongja charges in on horseback. He's rocking that elite battlefield assessment skill. He stole from Sarbus, but he's remixing it with his own style. He calculates the flow of battle, keep pushing straight, then hook a hard right, and they'll crash right into the Demon King's army commander. Our boy takes point, leading the charge, with the whole squad screaming about how the goddess's warrior is here to save the day. He knows this skill is basically a cheat code, giving him a live minimap and instant authority, plus he's already memorized the terrain by dying and respawning through this day multiple times. He spots a goblin lingering around, tenacious little bugger. Time to end this. He unearths his legendary sword. This blade comes with serious lore. Legend has it the founder of the Agam Empire received it directly from the goddess herself. The founder vanished into thin air, with the weapon leaving behind a cryptic prophecy about a hero returning with the holy sword when the world needs it most. Basically, anyone holding this thing gets instant max-level trust from the Empire. The knights lose their minds when they see the glint of that steel, screaming that the goddess is still watching over them. Gongjia raises the blade, rallying the troops for an all-out assault, while thinking, man, this thing is perfect for unlocking hidden scenarios. Meanwhile, the Sword Emperor is salty that our boy chose a shiny, indestructible knife over actual power-up items. Gongjia counters that the knife is durable, flashy, and it's basically a mind control key for NPCs on the first 20 floors. He keeps galloping, chatting up the commander, explaining that these guys aren't just pixels or quest dispensers. Some of the other hunters are scratching their heads wondering why Gongjia is besties with the NPC commander, and why he's dripping in hunter gear but ordering people around like a general. Gongjia just laughs internally, the smell of their envy is sweet. The Sword Emperor is still raging in his ear, yelling that he taught Gongjia Aura to slash enemies, not to eavesdrop on conversations. Gongjia ignores the ghost, vibing with his new powers. Agim's forces absolutely steamroll the left flank of the demon army, and Gongjia signals the push. Even Sarbus is calling Gongjia commander now, ordering the troops to follow our boy's lead. Finally, they reach the raid boss, the Goblin King of the 11th floor. The Goblin King roars at his minions to intercept, but Gongjia isn't waiting for a cutscene. He launches himself into the air, smacks the king with a skill, and boom, boss deleted. The knights erupt into cheers, roaring that the enemy is broken and the goddess's chosen one has decapitated their leadership. The goblins panic and scatter, but the hunters aren't showing mercy today. They go full beast mode, mowing down every last mob. Just like that, the 11th floor is cleared. The hunters are hype, celebrating a speedrun record of just 24 hours. The system runs the numbers and drops the leaderboard for the top 10 conquerors. Gongjia sits at number 1, with the Sword Saint trailing in second. The lobby is shook. Gongjia doesn't even have a cool nickname, yet he gapped the Sword Saint. Whispers start flying about him being some hidden Smurf account. The Sword Emperor scoffs, calling him a cheater with an inflated ego. Gongjia fires back that in this game, skill is the only currency that matters, but the ghost refuses to cope. Gongjia thinks to himself, this spirit cares more about his pride than actual stats. He then tells the Emperor, fine, teach me some sword moves then. Before engaging floor 20, Gongjia hits the Sword Emperor with a disclaimer. Don't lose your mind, okay? He teases that he can't exactly level up without soaking up some new skills. The Sword Emperor is vibrating with hype. He's ecstatic, claiming that Gongjia is finally about to comprehend the sheer scale of his god-tier power. Sarvis approaches, bowing low to drop some major gratitude for the victory. Our boy waves it off, insisting he doesn't need the praise, since they crushed it as a squad. Sarvis keeps it 100. He was skeptical at first. An oracle promised warriors from another dimension would save them, but he doubted strangers would risk it all for a random world. Well, our resident suicidal MC proved that theory dead wrong. They lock hands and Gongjia reflects on the moment. Different dimensions, different lives, but that grip, it speaks a universal language of respect. Sarvis says he's banking on Gongjia for the long haul, and our hero promises to bring his A-game. Suddenly, the system interrupts the bromance. It's loot time for clearing the floor. Gongjia blinks in surprise. The system announces that the MVPs, the top conquerors, get first dibs on the rewards. They also get VIP access to enter the 12th floor while the scrubs wait. But before Gongjia warps out, Sarvis begs him to safeguard their empire. Meanwhile, the Sword Emperor poses a grim question. What's the play if the Sword Saint spots you? Our boy smirks. What's he gonna do? Something worse than killing me. The Sword Emperor doesn't vibe with the sarcasm and presses him again. Gongjia assures the ghost he's got a master plan cooking. He steps into the light, and the elite players trail behind him like he's the raid leader. They materialize in the Imperial Palace of Agim. The cult interrogator is practically glowing with admiration. He slides up to our boy, gushing about his tactical genius on the 11th floor, specifically how he weaponized those NPCs. He eyes Gongjia's blade. Is that the loot from floor 10? When Gongjia confirms, the interrogator is floored, dominating the 11th floor with gear from the 10th. Insane. Gongjia shrugs it off, playing the humble card. Boom! Out of nowhere, the Sword Saint lunges with lethal intent, but the cult interrogator intercepts the strike, stepping in as the ultimate human shield. He taunts the old man. Since when did you spec into the assassin class? Sword Saint isn't here for banter. He orders the interrogator to step aside. He's taking the protagonist's head. The cult interrogator feigns shock. Him really. The interrogator argues that Gongjia's hands are a national treasure. Plus, slaughtering him right here would be a PR nightmare for the 5 major guilds. Why? The hostility he demands. The Sword Saint refuses to elaborate. Realizing diplomacy is dead, the interrogator sighs. Guess we're doing this the hard way. He crosses his arms, unleashing spirit displacement. From the shadows above, the Sword Saint gets ambushed by 2 guild leaders, but the old legend parries their strikes like it's child's play. Viper hisses, calling the guy an old monster. The legend claps back. I'm not the only ancient one here. Aren't you pushing 40? Miss Paladin cuts the trash talk, warning Viper to lock in since they're outmatched. Suddenly the interrogator pivots to the Countess. I need 10,000 gold. Now. She assumes it's business offering a loan at 15% interest over 3 months. No, he corrects her. It's a donation. She snaps, calling him a highway robber. He counters that her wealth is dirty anyway. Might as well purify it through the temple. Gritting her teeth, she opens the purse strings and golden coins rain from the sky. The cult interrogator catches the loot with a grin, clapping his hands to activate a sacred buff. Boom, Miss Paladin and Viper get a massive power spike for 300 seconds. He declares that the gold will guide their strikes, sealing the technique. He taunts that even the mighty Sword Saint will struggle against a 4 versus 1 gank squad now, especially while the Countess's vault still has funds. He cackles, wondering if she'll go broke before the old man goes down. The Countess is fuming at his audacity. Then the Black Witch makes her entrance. It's not just 4, she announces, joining the fray. She reveals that Gongja cut a deal with all 5 guilds yesterday. That contract grants him VIP status equal to the guildmasters themselves. She glares at the Sword Saint. You touch him, you declare war on all of us. You really think you can solo the entire server? This was Gongja's 4D chess move all along. The Sword Saint is seething. Our boy turns to the Sword Emperor, recalling their chat on the 11th floor. Gongja explains there are 2 ways to crush a boss. Either you overpower them alone, or you bring a legion. He states that a solo player can't beat a hunter with an army at his back. Gongja strolls up to the Sword Saint, offering a diplomatic approach. He says, I'm genuinely confused. We've never met, and I've always been your biggest fan. Why the aggression? But one look at the old man's face tells the story he's convinced Gongja is a black dragon assassin. The Sword Emperor chuckles in Gongja's ear. To him, you don't look like a hero. You look like a shady glitch in the system. It's all about a rat sneaking in with the big guilds backing him. That's what has the Sword Saint seeing absolute red. The old master glares up, spitting facts. Outside world Babylon. It's all the same trash heap to him. He launches into a rant about how he hadn't even spent 24 hours in the tower before recruiters started swarming him like vultures. But he shut them down cold. You want to know why? He levels his blade right at the Black Witch's throat. It's about sending a message. In this tower, you stand alone. Unlike the garbage fire outside where your bloodline and passport define your worth. Here, a single blade can carve a path to the summit. It's pure meritocracy, skill checks only. He roars that he wanted to shove that truth in everyone's face, then he turns the heat on them. Look at what you're doing. You're just recreating the same toxic hierarchy as the outside world. The Black Witch isn't having it though. She claps back hard. She claims the old man is judging them from a pedestal of ignorance. He's only elite because he never had to carry dead weight. If he'd actually stepped up to carry the team, half the graveyard would still be breathing. Viper jumps in, screaming his lungs out. He calls out the hypocrisy. Sword Saint didn't solo floors 5, 7, or 9. If the old geezer had just played nice, their casualty rates would be slashed by 50%. The Countess chimes in, piling on the guilt trip. With his connections outside, they could have solved the food shortages instantly. The whole system would be rock solid. She calls him a petulant child in an old man's body. Black Witch doubles down. You're rank 1. Start acting like it. Sword Saint's response, aloud, shut the hell up. He calls their grievances pathetic, whining, and orders them to scramble, threatening to cut a bloody path through them if they don't move. The Sword Emperor is loving this drama, calling him a true disciple of the blade. Our MC finally steps into the ring. He asks if a deathmatch is really necessary, with only 10 players left standing. Even the NPCs on the 11th floor are uniting to save their nation. Black Witch pivots to him, eyes narrowing. She warns him this isn't just banter, it's deep. Gongja ignores the shade. We're hunters, right? How about we actually hunt the 12th floor? He addresses Sword Saint first. We have to assist even if they are just pixels. Their kingdom is on the brink of apocalypse, and we've been summoned as Imperial warriors. He drops a philosophical bomb. Do you know what that title actually means? A warrior shoulders the burdens normal people can't carry. He suggests everyone lock in and clear the remaining scenarios. Paladin sheathes her blade. She admits the kid makes a solid point. She doesn't know what triggered the old man, but infighting is off the table. Then she pulls out an item. She's willing to burn a consumable to settle this. It's a lie detector artifact, the very tool that got her to the deputy chief seat. She looks at Gongja and the Sword Saint. Trust her and she'll separate the facts from the cap. Doubt is the poison. Truth is the cure. Gongja's internal monologue lights up. This is the perfect setup. He raises a hand. I'm game. Sword Saint shifts his gaze to the holy warrior. She's the only one with clean hands in this mess. Paladin nods. She's taking that as a mutual yes. She gives Sword Saint the floor. Ask the kid anything. She'll act as the human polygraph. Sword Saint points a trembling finger. Have you slaughtered over 4,000 people? Gongja replies with a cold yes. The old man erupts, calling him a demon, but Paladin cuts in. That statement is false. Sword Saint freezes. She clarifies. The boy claimed he did, but the skill says he's lying. He hasn't killed that many. Gongja hides a sly grin and taunts. Any other questions? Paladin muses that it was an absurd accusation anyway. How could one rookie stack that many bodies? Sword Saint isn't done. He accuses the kid of being a sleeper agent, a special class assassin trained by the guilds. Gongja nods. Sure am. Paladin shakes her head. False again. Sword Saint starts raging, accusing the referee of rigging the game. She reminds him cold, I asked if you trusted me before we started. The old master is left speechless. She presses him on his honor. Desperate Sword Saint pivots. He must have killed at least one person, just one. Gongja agrees. You got me. Paladin confirms. True. The MC holds up a single finger. Exactly one person. He admits the deed, but claims the victim had it coming. Then he flares up. That bastard tried to kill me first. He was a psychopath. Sword Saint is paralyzed because Paladin's verdict keeps coming back the same. Every word the kid just said is verified. Truth. The cult interrogator cackles from the sidelines, loving the twist ending. The Sword Emperor facepalms hard. He mumbles that he warned his grand disciple about relying too much on raw skills. Gongja strolls up to the defeated legend. Looks like we got our wires crossed. He plays the relief card. Glad we cleared up that misunderstanding. Then he leans in, voice dropping. If the guild masters hadn't stepped in, I'd be a corpse right now, wouldn't I? He locks eyes with the saint. The tension in the room is thick enough to choke on. Our boy Gongja stares down the legend, knowing this is the moment the Sword Saint needs to drop to his knees. Miss Paladin steps up, her lie detection skill flaring. She backs him 100%, confirming 0 lies detected. He is spitting straight facts. The old legend opens his mouth to retort, but the words get stuck. He is sweating bullets, and the whole room holds its breath, waiting for the drop. Gongja's mind is racing like a chess computer. Sure, the Paladin has a reputation for being a saint, but she is also guild royalty. Is the old man going to call her a liar to save face, or will he expose the secrets of his skill? If he spills his secrets, his reputation takes a hit, but he clears his name. Suddenly, the Sword Saint locks eyes with our boy. What is your name, kid? A chill runs down the protagonist's spine. Is this a hit? Is the old man planning to silence him permanently, just like that Psycho Flame Emperor did? Clack. To everyone's shock, the Sword Saint slides his blade back into the scabbard. He isn't attacking. He is asking for a reset button. Then, the unthinkable happens. The saint bows deep, shattering Gongja's expectations. I was wrong, he grinds out. Careless. Blind to the truth. The old man's voice cracks as he admits his recklessness almost cost an innocent life. He drops a bombshell confession. Until today, he believed in executing villains without hesitation. But right here, right now, he swears on his life never again. Gongja analyzes the move. No excuses. No blaming his faulty skill. The old man is eating the humble pie whole, taking full responsibility. Sorry isn't enough, the saint declares. He looks Gongja in the eye. Name your price. Anything you desire, it is yours. Our MC is reeling. 5 minutes ago, he expected a sword through the gut. Now, the legend is practically begging for forgiveness. It is surreal. A mythic figure, the absolute peak of power, is humbling himself before a rookie hunter who hasn't even made a name for himself. He glances at Miss Paladin. She nods, confirming the saint's sincerity. Gongja takes a deep breath and faces the legend. Teach me, Gongja demands. Teach me the sword. The saint freezes. Our boy scratches his head suddenly, looking a little sheepish. I mean, spar with me, he corrects quickly. I actually just picked up a master recently, but I have nobody to practice against. It is the perfect play, keep his promise to the Ghost Sword Emperor while leveling up. Using the strongest living swordsman as a sparring partner, insane gains. He opens his mouth to seal the deal, then chokes. Wait, scratch that, Gongja stammers. He knows he earned a favor from the saint, but acting high and mighty feels weird. The Sword Saint blinks, confused. Gongja turns away, hiding his face. Standing over you like this. It makes me feel big, he mutters. And I am really not that special. I am just glad you do not want to kill me anymore. The Black Witch's jaw hits the floor. Is this kid for real? I do not want to be a jerk about this, Gongja mumbles. His face is burning up, turning a deep crimson. So please, just teach me swordplay. He feels like he could die of cringe right there. Even Miss Paladin looks stunned, whispering that his humility is actually genuine. Meanwhile, the Viper is losing it. Why isn't the kid asking for cash or epic gear? Wasting a blank check because of social anxiety? Wild. The Black Witch smirks. Haven't seen a soul like this in ages. She is actually intrigued. The cult interrogator is vibrating with joy. A miracle. The sacred beauty of forgiveness. Someone tells the fanatic to zip it. The Countess rolls her eyes and turns to the old man. Fine, you apologized. We good. I still wasted 10,000 gold on you, though. Sword Saint ignores her head down. Then bam, he grabs Gongja's shoulders. I was so wrong, he booms. A young man of such character, Gongja, is being shaken like a rag doll. Call me Gramps or old man, he is beaming now. You know I have a granddaughter back home. Total sweetheart. If she ever climbs the tower, I am introducing you two immediately. Gongja blinks, totally lost. I am not really looking for a girlfriend, he stammers. Nonsense. You are young. This is the prime of your life. The Ghost Sword Emperor sighs in Gongja's ear. Here we go. Once the old coot gets excited, his brain turns to mush. The saint is spiraling into a fantasy world, promising to treat Gongja like family. Our boy is dying inside. He seriously considers stabbing himself just to reset the day and avoid this awkwardness. Ding. A blue window pops up. First place cleared. He conquered the 11th floor. Top ranking. The system flashes. Reward available. Gongja pauses. He is the first one ever. Floors 12 through 20 are uncharted territory. No guides, no spoilers. What kind of loot drops here? Two avatars materialize in front of him. On the left, a figure glowing with divine golden light. On the right, a shadow drenched in darkness, gripping a blade. The glowing one. That is the goddess of the Aegean Empire. She is impressed by his run. She is offering the keys to the kingdom. Chancellor, Grand Marshal, you name it. Commander of the Knights. That comes with insane stats and instant clout. Gongja knows the meta. Grab a high rank, get buffed skills. It is the perk of being number one. You clear the stage first, you get first pick of the overpowered classes. The system interface blazes to life, unlocking the exclusive roles awaiting Gongja on the 12th floor. He scans the menu. Before, his options were trash-tier jobs like guard. But now, he spots the Demon King's bounty. The Demon King is absolutely vibing with Gongja's chaotic energy and slides into his DMs with a secret alliance offer. He matches the goddess's payout, but sweetens the pot with a dark side quest: slaughter every single warrior in the top 10. Do the dirty work, and the Demon King will warp him straight to the endgame, the 99th floor of the tower. Gongja freezes, eyes glued to the screen. The Viper notices the glitch in his behavior and asks, "Yo, why are you zoning out?" His mind is racing. Wipe out the competition and speedrun the tower to floor 99. It's insane. The system prompts a final choice between the two paths. The Sword Emperor screams in his ear, "Don't be an idiot, it's a trap." But Gongja doesn't need the warning. He already knows the game is rigged, because the Flame Emperor, that psycho, definitely took this deal. And since the Flame Emperor stalled out on the 40th floor, instead of reaching the peak, the shortcut is clearly a lie. The math doesn't add up. If the reward was real, the Flame Emperor wouldn't have been stuck halfway up. The raid party looks at him bewildered. Gongja speculates that maybe the Flame Emperor took the bait, realized he was screwed, and had to reset his run via rebirth. Still, the offer is dangerously seductive. He wonders what kind of nightmare awaits as the boss of the 99th floor. Is it worth dying just to catch a glimpse of the absolute peak? The Sword Emperor's ghost gets dead serious. Don't even joke about that. He climbed to the 99th floor solo, and he calls the Demon King's promise a sick, twisted nightmare. He assures Gongja that even with his current hacks, he couldn't possibly massacre the top 10 fighters. And even if he pulled off the miracle, he'd never conquer the 99th floor. Gongja asks, "Is the boss really that OP?" The ghost shakes his head, face twisted in pure trauma. "There's no monster up there, kid. It's something infinitely worse." A chill runs through Gongja. He asks what could possibly be that terrifying, rattled by seeing the legendary Sword Emperor so shaken. The Sword Emperor sighs, "Look, I hate complimenting you, but you're crushing it. Just stay the course. Keep grinding this path and you'll solo the 90th floor easy." Gongja looks away, processing the intel. With a heavy sigh, he tells the ghost, "Relax. I'm not touching the Demon King's deal." He decides to play the long game and reject the loot. He needs to see how the cards fall first. The Sword Emperor frowns. "Why are you snubbing the goddess's reward too?" Gongja grins. "Sometimes you gotta fold a hand to win the pot." He turns to the hunters, breaking the silence. "The 11th floor loot just dropped," he announces. The Black Witch rolls her eyes. "Finally, pick something so we can move on." Gongja drops the bomb. "I've decided. I'm not taking any reward." The room goes dead silent. The system flashes an error. Scene reward not selected. The goddess of protection is baffled. Meanwhile, the Autumn Rain Demon King chuckles from the shadows. "Miss Paladin can't compute. Why throw away a power-up?" She points out that the Sword Saint is ranked second and is now up to bat. The old man nods. "I get it. You're playing it safe. But why refuse everything he asks? Caution is good, but total abstinence. You might end up empty-handed if you're too careful." Gongja smiles. "Appreciate the concern, old-timer. But I've got zero regrets." The Sword Saint shakes his head. "That philosophy is too passive for me." He grabs the goddess's reward, commander of the Aegean Empire Knights. Instantly, an armored legion storms the gate, kneeling before their new lord. The cult interrogator steps up next. "Ooh, fun," he smirks. "It's like a game of Mafia. Let me break it down for you." He taps the air, projecting the rulebook onto the floor for everyone to see. The Viper and Black Witch blink at the text, stunned by the secondary objective. The heretic explains, "Team Goddess equals warrior. Team Demon King equals traitor. Simple. Being the chairman is riskier than being a mobster," he muses. "There are 9 spots open for warriors. That includes the vice head of the Vigilantes. Miss Paladin nods, realizing her role has a perk. I can sniff out the traitor. The interrogator glances at Gongja. Refusing everything was bold, maybe too bold. But I respect the hustle. He claims the title of Marshal of the Empire. The Viper smirks. I'm in it for the profits and locks in Guard Commander. Miss Paladin takes the diplomatic route, selecting Minister of Foreign Affairs as the most logical fit. The Black Witch grabs the Chancellor seat and glares at the group. If anyone picks the Demon King, I will end you. The Countess soothes the tension. Relax, darling, and selects Minister of Finance. The board is set. The roles are locked. Inside Gongja's head, the Sword Emperor asks, "You sure you made the right call, kid?" Gongja plays it cool, deciding to fold his hand. Sometimes you have to let the prey go to win the game. The system drops the final results. The top conquerors are locked in, but one player straight up rejected the prize. The chat goes wild when it reveals 8 people took the goddess's bait. But then comes the plot twist. One lunatic actually accepted the Demon King's offer. The Black Witch loses her mind, screaming at the group, lecturing them on why making a deal with the devil is a stupid move. The cult interrogator just smirks, noting that treason has a terrible return on investment. Yet someone was dumb enough to sign up. The Viper starts waxing poetic about the bloody good old days of the tower, back when the Countess remembers there being 10 massive guilds ruling the roost, instead of just 5. He mentions the body count was way higher back then. The mob starts demanding Miss Paladin fire up her lie detector skill right now to sniff out the mole. The Black Witch, flexing her authority as the Dragon Guild leader, vows she doesn't know who the snitch is, but she promises to make their reward absolutely miserable. She orders Miss Paladin to start scanning everyone immediately. Miss Paladin kicks things off by proving she's clean. She pivots to Gongja, declaring him officially cleared since he didn't even take a reward, but she grills him anyway just to be thorough. Our protagonist denies serving the Demon King, and the truth skill confirms he's legit. She swings her focus to the Sword Saint, asking the heavy question. Sword Saint puts his entire legacy on the line, swearing he's innocent. The cult interrogator is next, claiming it's not him, mostly because he has zero interest in getting incinerated by the Black Dragon leader. The Viper and the Countess also come up clean. Finally, Miss Paladin steps up to the scary boss lady herself, asking if the Black Witch is the traitor. She denies it, and the lie detector pings green she's telling the truth. Viper is shook. How did none of the top 10 take the deal? Miss Paladin tells him to chill. The traitor could be using a high-tier cloaking skill, or might literally have a split personality. She warns that, in this tower, impossible things happen every day. Sword Saint glares at Miss Paladin, throwing shade and suggesting she might still be the imposter. The Black Witch asks if he's serious. Sword Saint doubles down, saying even if Paladin isn't the traitor, she might be lying to keep the 5 guilds from imploding. Miss Paladin admits that logically he's not wrong, and she could definitely be the bad guy. But she argues the priority right now is keeping their heads cool, since they've survived too much hell to crack now. The cult interrogator calls her innocent, but reminds everyone that trust isn't free. It's expensive. He points out it took 10 years just to get the current guilds to stop killing each other. He turns his creepy gaze to the 3 random hunters in 8th, 9th, and 10th place, saying he doesn't have another 10 years to waste on building bonds with newbies. Miss Paladin tries to intervene, but the cult interrogator is already casting a lethal sacred art. He orders the Viper to take out the trash. Miss Paladin screams for them to halt, but she's too slow. The cult interrogator obliterates one hunter, and the Viper slaughters another, instantly. The system notification pops up. The dead hunters were innocent. Sword Saint snaps, drawing his blade in a rage, roaring that these psychos are showing their true colors. Nothing has changed. Meanwhile, the cult interrogator lunges at the final survivor. Gongja watches in horror as the system confirms the 3rd victim was also innocent. The cult interrogator stands over the body, calm as ice, saying, "Oops, not them." He deduces the traitor must be one of the top 5 elites. Miss Paladin is screaming at him to stand down, but he says he's perfectly calm. It's just a game of probabilities. And the odds say the enemy is right here. Sword Saint charges at the cult interrogator, but Viper jumps in to tank the hit. Sword Saint calls him a fanatic and demands a warning before the next murder. The cult interrogator collapses to the floor, staring at his own severed hand, noting that things are getting spicy. He can't cast his spells, with one hand missing. The Viper, getting wrecked by the Sword Saint, screams for backup before he dies. Miss Paladin makes a desperate call. She deputizes Gongja with full command, since he's the only confirmed neutral party. She begs him to stop the Sword Saint. Even the cult interrogator, pouring a potion on his stump, agrees it's safer to trust the guy, who literally couldn't be the traitor. Another guild leader backs the play, giving Gongja absolute power. The protagonist is stunned, turning to his spirit guide, the Sword Emperor, asking if he has a hidden perk for attracting psychopaths. The Sword Emperor just laughs, congratulating him on the promotion, and asks if Gongja refused the reward, because he saw this mess coming. Gongja smirks. Rancor alliances are ticking time bombs. He knew someone would eventually blow everything up. He knew torching the reward was the tactical play, but this is a total dumpster fire. Looks like he's gonna have to trigger a reset later, regardless. He pivots to the Paladin. What is the deal with the Inquisitor? Her look says it all. Dude's always been completely unhinged. Back when they first breached, the tower religious beef was at an all-time high. The Inquisitor's solution: just slaughter everyone. Problem solved. Gongja connects the dots. Peace wasn't an option because nobody actually shook hands. Total media blackout. The Inquisitor just shrugs, admitting he blew a minor issue into a massacre because of a calculation error. Then he smirks. Since Gongja is the big boss now, he can deal with the raging Sword Saint. Gongja facepalms hard. He's definitely having a serious talk with that maniac later. But right now, the Sword Saint is tearing through the top guild leaders like tissue paper. Gongja steps up, shouting for the old man to chill. He cashes in that favor from earlier. I bowed to you. Remember, talk first/later. The old man freezes mid-swing. Gongja drops the ultimate distraction. Introduce me to your granddaughter. He doubles down, saying when she hits the tower, he wants to take her on a legit date. Sword Saint growls. He's not forgiving these scumbags no matter how smooth Gongja talks. One swing and they're dead meat anyway, he scoffs. Then a compromise. Fine. Can I gut them after we find the rat? Gongja blinks. Why is this legend asking his permission? The blade snaps back into its sheath, leaving the viper totally stunned. Gongja commands the room. Everyone cool it. He admits he has zero clue who the traitor is, and honestly, they might never know. But that's practically irrelevant. He declares they can crush this scenario without witch-hunting the snitch. The Paladin objects. The traitor took the Demon King's deal. We're all walking targets right now. Read the fine print, Gongja counters. He points out the critical intel: the Demon King's core is sitting pretty on the 20th floor. Forget the execution. Forget the traitor. It's a psychological trap. That traitor is probably terrified, just some unlucky soul the system forced into a villain role. Eyes on the prize, the Demon King. Delete him and his dirty reward vanishes into thin air. Ping. System update. The autumn rain. Demon King. Tisk-teaks in annoyance. Meanwhile, the goddess, she's practically starry-eyed. Gongja grins. Doesn't matter what twisted game the tower plays, the cheat code is always simple. We go up. We smash the core. Boom. The system immediately triggers the 12th floor quest sequence. The sky rips open. Red rain pours down and the crowd panics. It's the exact same nightmare fuel from the prophecy. Screams of "it's over" echo everywhere. Viper looks around, paranoid. Is this scripted? Are the NPCs programmed to freak out? Quest start, Gongja mutters. He strides to the window, smashes through the glass, and stares down the autumn rain Demon King. The Demon King sneers. Pathetic trash. He mocks the locals. Do they really think these foreign heroes are gonna save them? Summon 1,000 warriors. Rally 1,000,000 knights. It doesn't matter. You're all just ants. Gongja checks his HUD. The map is a sea of red dots. The castle is completely besieged. Drown in your own malice, the demon hisses. Suddenly, ding, quest alert. The Demon King has been hit with a massive nerf. Objective: stop the boss. Viper blinks. Wait, he's actually weakened, for real. Gongja tries to rally them. No fighting amongst ourselves, but Viper starts losing it. This is rigged. It's a suicide mission, Viper screams. Gongja cuts him off cold. Chill out. The tower doesn't do impossible. He points at the terrified NPCs. Viper, you're the Imperial Guard captain now. Act like it. Lead those soldiers. We can't just play hunter here. You guildmasters need to step up, inspire the AI, and become actual leaders. Treat them like human beings, not code. He turns to the old man. Sword Saint, you're the commander. Team up with Viper. You both got the fancy titles, now do the job. Next up, Paladin, secure the Emperor and round up the foreign affairs officials. Go. Finally, the heretic questioner. Look, I hate your playstyle, Gongja admits, but we need a marshal right now. The psycho laughs. Oh, I just love you more and more. Gongja shuts him down instantly. Save it. You gave me authority, remember? He points to the wall. Those knights are shaking in their boots, staring at that army. Get up there, Marshal. Personally. Get their heads back in the game. Hold that wall, or it's game over. The questioner bows theatrically. I have never broken an oath since the day I was born. The team scatters to their stations. Gongja steps forward. I'll take point. The other hunters are stunned. Whispers start flying. Damn, he's way cooler than the Black Dragon Witch, but the show's just starting. She demands he drop the formalities and call her by her title, Guildmaster of the Black Dragon. He ignores that, asking how she crashed this party. Her secret, a broken mechanic, line-of-sight teleportation. The Sword Emperor chimes in, telling Gongja he should let her kill him. Just once. Why? Because snatching an S-tier warping skill is worth dying for. Gongja ignores the ghost and asks why she's down here, instead of defending the walls. She's blunt. She's here to extract him. She saw his performance on the 11th floor, realized his blade buffs the NPCs, jacking up their morale. The knights on the front line are desperate for that energy. Not her. She reaches out, demanding verbal consent. The skill has a condition: he has to say yes loud and clear. or the teleport fails. Gongja's stunned. She's casually exposing the mechanics of an S-rank ability intel that should be top secret, but the Black Dragon Master doesn't flinch. As the self-proclaimed chancellor of this empire, she refuses to hoard secrets while her nation burns. Then she snaps time's wasting. He consents. She grips his hand, mentions one final condition, and leaps straight off the cliff. Only in freefall does the warp trigger. Mid-jump, Gongja's mind races. These NPCs aren't just code, they're identical to real humans. Illusions or not, the terror in their eyes is legit. They touch down and Gongja thanks her for the lift. But she cuts him off. She's not done. She can't walk away without flexing some true leadership. For the rookies, you don't get to be guildmaster by playing it safe. The Black Witch turns, facing the Agim Knights. Her voice booms, "On your feet, these stone walls won't save you. Only you can shield this empire." The knights tremble, stirred by her fury. She commands them to rise again, screaming that masonry crumbles, but as long as their line holds, the homeland survives. She clutches Gongja's hand, declaring God is watching over us, and then, ping. System alert. The goddess of protection thanks Gongja for his choice. The notification triggers a flashback, the memory of Sarvis ending him. He sees the enemy's death. Sarvis muses on the mystery. No one knows the origin. Only that when it arrived, the sky wept scarlet rain. An entity that views all life as dust. Where the red drops land, blood flows. This monster loathes humanity. Disgusted by their penchant for self-destruction, Sarvis watches with every fallen wall. Humanity's footprint fades. He barks orders to pull back, seeking shelter from the rain. With every royal line extinguished, history bleeds out. Meanwhile, the Demon King mocks them. Humans craft their own doom, he sneers. Karma for primitive beasts. The red rain pours harder. Panic spreads among the knights. This is the end. The Demon King muses, why show mercy today? Why not cull another herd of wild animals? The NPCs freeze, staring at the abyss, begging for their lives. They scream for the goddess. Scribes frantically record the final moments, silently accepting the doom written. By their own weakness, humanity extinct. The Lord of Nightmares. King of Demons. That is the name whispered in the end. The Demon King. Then silence. The rain halts. A single beam of sunlight pierces the clouds, striking the fortress. Cheers erupt. The knights weep. The empire is blessed. But Gongja knows better. This isn't divine intervention. The rain only broke where his holy sword cast its light. He realizes sometimes you gotta celebrate the small wins, especially when small is all you have left. He thinks back to the start. The throne room was empty of high-ranking NPCs. The elites had long abandoned ship. Yet here are the grunts, crying tears of joy, believing the goddess stayed. This is why the tower picked this setting, Gongja realizes. Just like the burning mansion on the 10th floor, the Black Witch snaps him out of it, roaring at the knights. Steel returns to their spines. They stand ready. The guildmaster exhales, bullet dodged. She catches Gongja, staring. What's with the face, she teases. My speech moved you that much. She smirks, turning away. Back home we had plenty of reds. I hated the commies. But damn could they give a speech. Gongja looks blank. The Sword Emperor groans. Cringe. Total fail. She pivots back to business. What's the play, kid? Gongja locks in. First we hold the wall. His mind drifts to her S-rank teleportation. But he knows the score. One blink, one teleport, and he'd land dead center in a mosh pit of monsters. Gongja cuts straight to the chase. We need to check the Demon King's aggro right now. He tells the witch that the NPC warriors are just meat shields buying time. It's on the hunters to carry this raid. If they slack off, the Demon King is going to spawn camp the fortress until the walls crumble. He demands a direct port to the big bad. The witch stares at him like he's crazy. Are you actually trying to speedrun your own death? She calls it a suicide run. Gongja gets it, she's scared. But she doesn't know that for him, a game over screen is just a checkpoint. I've got a full hand of aces, he says, eyes locking with hers. Just trust the play. The witch echoes him. Realizing every hunter hides a wild card, she sighs. Then make sure that blade of yours is sharp enough to one-shot this boss. Meanwhile, the Demon King is laughing. The goddess has a twisted sense of humor. To him, this resistance isn't brave. It's barely a warm-up. Sending these bugs to fight me. Has the goddess lost her divine mind? Fine. If she wants a show, I'll bring the blinding light. He swings his sword. Just one casual strike, but the force is cataclysmic. Knights get ragdolled into the air. The shockwave slams into the tower and shatters part of the palace. Then a system alert pings the heroes. A warrior has fallen. Someone who wasn't under the Demon King's thumb. The head of the Black Dragon drops her jaw. That was the audience hall, she whispers. Sword Saint the cult interrogator and the Viper are all on the battlefield. Miss Paladin is off searching for the Emperor on Gongja's orders. That leaves only one person in that hall. The Countess. Gongja's eyes widen. She wasn't a traitor after all. The Black Witch curses. That scoundrel dying first like a total amateur. Gongja grimaces. Losing the Countess means their connection to the outside just got severed. But the witch slaps reality back into him. Focus on the enemy in front of us. She knows even a monster like the Demon King can't spam ultimate moves like that forever. Gongja pulls up his minimap. The red dots of the enemy army are shifting. They're pushing for a breach. He reaches out to the witch, accepting her crazy gamble to defend the broken gates. Hands clasp. Zap. In a blink, the scenery changes. Gongja looks around. They are deep in the danger zone, completely exposed with zero backup. The Sword Emperor floats up. Hey kid, think you can clutch this for 30 seconds? Just you against the world. He grins. You want to win this war. You gotta be the symbol, the hope humanity is clinging to. Even 30 seconds changes everything. And the guy who buys that time, that's what we call a hero. Gongja chugs a buff potion. Power surges through his veins instantly. The Sword Emperor hovers closer. Remember our deal, teaching you the blade until the 20th floor. We're rushing the curriculum. But class is in session. He starts barking orders. 2 goblins. 12 o'clock. Their vision is trash and the dust is blinding them. They're squinting. They can't see you. The master explains the theory of war. It's not about absolute speed. It's about relative time. Steal their vision, and you own the second. Gongja's blade moves faster than before. It's hero time, he thinks. He engages the goblins. Slash, drop, slash, drop. It's not a fight. It's a rhythm game. A sword dance lasting mere seconds. Don't just swing it, the Emperor yells. Chain the combos. Flow like water. He commands Gongja to dip the blade and snap it back up instantly. The attack elongates, becoming one continuous stream of death. The Emperor lectures, while Gongja kills. Fencing is battling time itself. A noob gets wiped in a second. One misstep. Game over. But a pro controls the flow for 5 seconds. Gongja is in the zone. Squeeze every millisecond, the Emperor roars. Leave nothing in the tank. Then, a massive shadow looms. An ogre. As Gongja lunges at the beast, a thought intrudes. Why did the tower give an S-tier skill to a psycho like the Flame Emperor? That guy was toxic. Broken. Imagine if a sane person got that power, Gongja muses. He questions the tower's logic. Is the tower only beatable by monsters like the Flame Emperor? Does he have to become a monster too? He chuckles. Nah, I'm clearing the 20th floor my way. Forget him. The ogre swings a tree-sized fist. Gongja readies his counter. I'm going to the 100th floor. Ding system notification. Your achievements demand recognition. The ogre crashes down dead. Rank up. Not bad, kid, the Sword Emperor grins. That was exactly 30 seconds. Suddenly, a presence manifests behind Gongja. A blur of steel wipes out the remaining mobs. Sword Saint stands there looking impressed. You're incredible, he says. Gongja blinks, stunned. I'm the Sword Saint. Gongja realizes this is the second time a top ranker has treated him like an equal. The dynamic has shifted. He's not a spectator anymore. He's a player. He turns, introducing himself with full confidence. Sword Saint smiles. Let's duo this. They fall into formation. And then the cult interrogator arrives. He finally pulls up, dropping a quick, my bad, for the delay. He admits, leading an army isn't exactly a walk in the park, but he gives major props to Gongja for buying them precious time. No time to rest though. He orders the squad to wipe every single monster off the map. Gongja is fighting like a beast, locked in his mind, focused on one thing, pushing forward. Viper rushes the flank, hyping him up on his performance. He explains the holdup. He wasn't just wrangling the guard. He was leading a literal army member. The snake smirks, promising Gongja is about to see why they hold the title Heavenly Order. But Gongja, he's tuned out. He's completely zoned into the rhythm of the slaughter. The snake introduces himself as Loafing, the guy Gongja saved not long ago. Inside the chaos, he steps up to cover Gongja's blind spot on the left, dropping a flex. Stick to my right, and you don't ever die. Then Miss Paladin crashes the party. She's breathless, reporting the grim news they found the Emperor, but he took his own way out. Poison. Sword Saint barely blinks. Forget it, he says. Better to brawl together right now than waste time rounding up troops. Paladin nods but then freezes when she spots Gongja. Sword Saint cuts her off. Don't interrupt him. For this kid, time is literal gold, and he's loving every second. Suddenly, the Demon King's voice booms, mocking their struggle. Proud of buying a few seconds. Pathetic. He sneers that their goddess is fading. There are no gods left to save this empire. He lifts his blade, asking what hope they have left. The Black Witch screams, shields up. She let him slide once, but not this time. She deploys her mirrors to tank the hit, but the impact is too heavy. The glass shatters instantly. Viper and Sword Saint step in to parry the shockwave. The Black Witch grabs them, shouting she's warping everyone straight to the boss. Hold on tight, she screams, Gongja's name reaching out her hand. Grab it now. We're leaving you behind if you don't. Gongja feels the world dissolving. It hits him, this timeline is ending. They're all going to forget this victory. The Sword Emperor grins, calling him partner. Let's go bag the mob boss. But Gongja thinks, maybe it sticks. Like the memory of that one death on the first floor, or the soul lost on the 99th. Reversing time won't fix the trauma, but he's leveled up. He's ready. Boom. The witch triggers the warp. They materialize face to face with the Demon King. The boss scoffs, realizing there's a traitor or an imposter among them. Yet these fools still trust each other, stitching together a desperate resistance from scraps. You think this garbage armor will save you? The Black Witch tries to hold Gongja back, but he's already saying his mental goodbyes. See you in the next life. He charges. The Demon King laughs. Here to kill me, Gongja smirks. Nah, here to die. The king grabs him. Snap, instant death. Darkness. Then the blue screen pops up. Conditions met. Gongja is dead. Jackpot. He can now copy the Autumn Rain Demon King's ability. Skill cards drift around him in the void. Sword Emperor floats by skimming the deck. I've checked the loot, he says. Gongja tells him to read him out. First up, an S-tier stealth skill. Makes you basically invisible to tracking. Gongja wonders if this is how the Flame Emperor cheesed the 10th floor. It makes him wonder, does the tower feel regret? Next card. An A-rank passive. It burns emotions as fuel to supercharge your aura. Higher the feels, higher the damage. But the side effect. Emotional dependency. Gongja muses that every floor has hidden quests, even the 12th. Third option, summoning evil spirits. Kill an enemy, they come back as your minions minus their memories. Or skills. Just blank slate monsters. He needs to pick the one that clears the 20th floor. He makes his choice. Sword Emperor is confused. Why that one? But Gongja's mind is made up. He shifts the topic. Hey, what's the Sword Saint's daily schedule look like? Sword Emperor shrugs. Guy lives like a clockwork grandpa. Strict routine. Gongja drills down on the evening plans. The look in his eyes. He's plotting something massive. Skill. Copied. Reset. He wakes up 24 hours in the past. He touches his chest, thinking of the Demon King's wound, but shelves that thought. Suddenly, the Black Witch is there. You really bouncing? Gongja nods. 11th floor opens soon. Gotta prep. The witch frowns. Prep. You don't even know what's coming. Gongja waves off the 11th floor. It's the 12th that's the nightmare. The Demon King is waiting. She eyes him. He looks ghostly pale. Gongja hides his face. I'm good. Just blown away by how strong you guys are. Then he drops the bomb. He knows everything. The quests, the details for the 10th floor. The guild leaders are shook. You sharing that intel? The witch asks. Sure, Gongja says. But I need a favor. A blank check for the future. No money, no murder. And if you can't do it, you can refuse. Deal. The cult interrogator grins. Fair trade. The room nods. Gongja smiles. Phase 1, complete. Gongja drops the lore bomb floors. 11 through 20 are the real deal. The Aegim Empire arc. Everything they survived up to the 10th floor. That was basically just the tutorial mode. Now the kid gloves come off. It's straight up warfare from here. The guild masters immediately huddle up, strategizing on how to prep their squads before deployment. Gongja pivots to Miss Paladin, shooting his shot not for a date but a stroll. He asks if she's down to take a walk with him. He claims he needs her wisdom. She hesitates, citing a tight schedule, but Gongja assures her he only needs 30 minutes on the clock. As they hit the streets, the crowd goes wild, well quietly. You can hear the whispers rippling through the mob about the guy who crushed the 10th floor. Boom, the Sword Emperor manifests, dropping a warning. Hey kid, you've got a tail. Gongja asks the ghost to double-check the intel. The Sword Emperor confirms it but warns him to keep his eyes forward. The stalkers cloaked in stealth skills. Turning around would give it away for nothing. Gongja instructs the ghost to gauge the stalker's persistence. His gut is screaming that something feels sketchy. Flashback time. He remembers the last timeline clearing the air with the Sword Saint on the 12th floor was way too little, way too late. This run, he's crushing that beef early. Plus, everyone knows the Sword Saint has zero chill when it comes to guild leaders. If the old man turns on Gongja now, with a traitor lurking in the shadows, it's game over. He has to nip this catastrophe in the bud. Miss Paladin finally questions their destination, noticing they're drifting into the slums. Gongja plays it cool, claiming he wants to show her a hidden gem of a shop. But that's just the cover story. The real play, he's baiting the Sword Saint. He memorized the old man's routine down to the second, and sure enough, the Sword Saint takes the bait. Miss Paladin tags along totally oblivious, while Gongja hypes up the shopkeeper as a hidden genius in pharmacy. He claims a little marketing push could make the alchemist a star. Sensing something fishy, Miss Paladin activates her lie detection skill. Gongja passes with flying colors, technicalities for the win. She probes if he's plotting something, but Gongja just flashes a grin, reminding her that he's the one begging for a favor here. So if things go south, it's on his tab. She apologizes, admitting she gets told she's too paranoid. They step inside and the alchemy master welcomes them. Gongja checks if she's on the clock. She says they're technically closed, but for paying customers, she's always open, especially when it's her favorite regular Gongja. But the vibe shifts instantly when Gongja introduces his companion as the deputy head of the vigilante squad. The alchemy master freaks out. She thinks she's getting raided and immediately starts stammering that she's never peddled illegal goods. Caught off guard by the panic, Miss Paladin pings her lie detector again. Green light, the alchemist is telling the truth, which actually shocks her even more. Gongja steps in to de-escalate, explaining they aren't here for trouble. He points out that the alchemist's business is struggling to match her insane talent level. His pitch, give Miss Paladin a sample. If the potion hits the spot, they strike a deal. Landing the Vigilante Guild as a client would send her stocks to the moon. The alchemist is practically glowing. She mentions Gongja already saved her shop once with a massive order, and now he's doing it again. She asks how she can possibly repay the debt. Boom, perfect timing. The Sword Saint barges in, ordering everyone to clear out except Gongja. He demands a private chat. Miss Paladin steps up, asking what business he has with the kid. The old man just sneers, mocking her, asking if her ears are painted on. He barks at them to move. His beef is with Gongja. Miss Paladin holds her ground, demanding to know what kind of conversation requires an empty room. The Sword Saint growls it a third time. Get out. She doesn't flinch, and fires back, telling him he can say it 30 times for all she cares, it won't change a thing. She drops a savage line about how senility must be kicking in. She reminds the old geezer that Gongja is officially top-tier guild property now. Touching him is a declaration of war. That just triggers him. The Sword Saint decides that if the guilds are protecting him, Gongja must be a spy, so his hand goes for the hilt. Miss Paladin looks genuinely baffled and says she has no clue what his deal is. She draws her blade too, calling him out for his rampage of attacking people based on zero evidence. Attacking on pure hunch. She admits the vigilante squad ignored his tantrums before to avoid the headache, but doing it right in front of her face, that's a line crossed. The Sword Saint smirks, asking if she actually thinks she can take him. She admits she can't win, but she promises to go down swinging. And if she dies, he goes down in history as a cold-blooded killer who butchered an innocent person. She dares him to strike if he wants that legacy. Gongja watches, thinking bingo. That is the Sword Saint's kryptonite. The guy is physically incapable of hurting the innocent. Gongja recalls this perfectly from the last timeline. The old man respected Miss Paladin because her hands were clean. That's exactly why Gongja used her as his human shield. Then the alchemist jumps into the fray. She throws herself between them, declaring Gongja is her savior and top client. She tells the legend to his face, I don't care how famous you aren't touching him. The rage drains out of the Sword Saint. The alchemist demands he leave. Gongja realizes that while they can't beat the old man in a fight, their moral weight completely paralyzes him. The Sword Saint releases his grip, turns his back, and walks out. Checkmate. Everything went exactly according to script. He fulfills the second condition. He needs a split second to talk before the old man decapitates him. Sword Saint turns to leave. Gongja screams at his back. Noon tomorrow, Northern Wastelands. You want my real identity, show up. The old man pauses, glances back, silence. Then he walks away. Miss Paladin exhales, clearly rattled by the tension. Gongja cracks a grin. Aren't these dramatic face-offs supposed to happen under a cursed moon? Then he gets serious. Is he really a serial killer? Her expression darkens. Off the books, yeah. The top guilds know. Back in the real world, a psycho murdered his daughter and son-in-law. He buried that trauma deep, so details are scarce. Gongja feels a pang of sympathy. That's his trigger. He smells blood on someone and he goes full executioner. Just rumors and puzzle pieces. But the ghost Sword Emperor whispers in Gongja's ear. It's true. The old-timer told me his grandkids barely made it out alive. Gongja frowns. Why tell me now? You didn't ask, kid? Meanwhile, Miss Paladin nods slowly. I get where he's coming from. Sometimes trash needs taking out. She spins around. The guild masters, they all have dirt on each other. Welcome to the club, Gongja. It's ugly at the top. Gongja waves it off. We're losing focus. What's our potion stock look like? She sighs. We're the vigilantes, remember. We're broke. Cheap gear only. Cut to noon the next day. The countdown is ticking away. The air is heavy déjà vu from the last loop, but the vibe has shifted. Gongja scans the headlines. History is changing because he changed one variable. He has a date with death. Sword Saint arrives, hand on his hilt. You think I won't strike? Coming alone won't save you. A butcher with your kill count must be arrogant. Sweat trickles down Gongja's back. Sword Emperor notices. You good, never better. Gongja lies. Heart pounding like a drum. Time to drop the bomb. I know why you're hunting me. Guilty conscience. No. It's your skill. Detective's insight. The old man freezes. How do you know that name? Gongja steps forward. Just listen to me. Trust is a currency nobody gives away for free, especially a man who sees sins written in the air. He has to bet it all. I'm a prophet. I see the future. Just like you see that number, floating over my head. 4093. Sword Saint hides a hand behind his back. Prove it. How many fingers? Simple for a prophet, right? Gongja sighs. He knew this test was coming. The saint begins a threat. But Gongja jams a dagger into his own throat. The saint's eyes go wide. He didn't see that coming. Darkness. Reset. Gongja opens his eyes. Take two. The saint hides his hand again. Gongja cuts him off. 3 fingers. Ring middle index. The old man flinches. You can kill me, but you need me to clear the 12th floor. The saint narrows his eyes. Not enough proof. Could be mind reading. Or supervision. Splat. Gongja rips his own life away again. Reset. Die. Reset. Die. Reset. A bloody cycle of persuasion. Back in reality, he pleads. I'm not asking for blind faith. Give me 5 days. Just 5. Watch me. Judge me. Then kill me if I'm wrong. The saint shakes his head. Still don't buy it. Gongja plays his ace. In a future timeline, you told me a secret. A name. Sword Emperor. The ghost gasps. The saint freezes solid. That did it. The saint lowers his guard. Fine. You want 5 days. Yes. Done. The saint grunts. I'll be your shadow. Every step, every breath. One slip up, and you're exposed. Gongja bows deep. Thank you. Checkmate. The ultimate hunter is pacified, and the guilds are lined up. No more chaos on floor 12. See you on the other side, he tells the saint. Warp initiated. Floor 11. Gongja lands on the battlefield, leaving the hunters stunned. The intensity is ramping up. It starts off feeling like a total rerun of the last loop, but then boom, the script flips. The Black Witch bellows over the chaos, declaring that the Black Dragon Guild is seizing command of this war, effective immediately. She barks out tactical orders, splitting the legion. One squad flanks left, the other tears through the right. Meanwhile, the Black Dragon unit is bulldozing straight down the middle. She warns them to zip it and save the complaints for the victory lap. As the hunters rush in, Viper roars out a savage promise. He'll personally strangle anyone who has the audacity to die on his watch. Even the guild masters dive into the fray. Sarpus watches jaw on the floor before screaming at his own troops to wake up. He points out how these otherworldly warriors are absolutely stomping the monsters and orders his knights to get in on the action. They charge in hyped. Meanwhile, the Sword Emperor drifts over to Gongja, checking his vibe. He starts roasting our MC, warning him that if he chills too hard, he's gonna fade into background character status. You're an attention junkie kid. You sure you can handle losing the spotlight? Gongja just shrugs it off like a boss, saying he couldn't care less. The Emperor cackles, asking if Gongja finally hit puberty. But creeping silently behind our boy the Sword Saint, Gongja is oblivious until he spins around and nearly jumps out of his skin, seeing the old master looming right over his shoulder. Dude, what gives? Gongja stammers. The saint coolly reminds him of the deal. He's shadowing Gongja for 5 days, judging whether to execute him or not. Gongja asks if he meant literally 24/7 surveillance, and the answer is a hard yes. Gongja sighs, suggesting the old man should at least kill some mobs since the loot depends on contribution score. Without even looking back, the Sword Saint casually decapitates a squad of goblins. He says he'll swing his blade occasionally, so don't sweat it. Gongja heads toward the command center, but the Black Witch's goons block his path, demanding his business. The witch spots the duo and snaps at them to make it snappy. She's trying to run a war here. Our boy drops a bomb. He unlocked a special clear reward for the 10th floor. She's unimpressed until he whips out a mini-map revealing real-time positions of every friend and foe on the field. That snaps her neck around. Is this legit? She demands. Gongja hits her with the "why would I lie" face. She instantly grabs his arm, scolding him for stalling, and demands the boss monster's coordinates. Gongja points a finger, dead, at the target. Enemies are swarming the perimeter, invisible to the naked eye, but lighting up the minimap like a Christmas tree. She doesn't hesitate, smashing that teleport skill. She barks at him to accept the link. He consents, but right before the jump, Gongja catches a vibe shift. She hits different when the pressure is on. The cool commander mask slips when she's rattled, revealing her true colors. Boom! They warp instantly, materializing dead center above the kill zone. Mid-air Black Witch screams for coordinates. Gongja locks onto a massive silhouette in the distance, and zap, they blink forward again, hovering directly over the boss mob's head. Gravity kicks in. She yells, "Can you actually swing that thing?" He grins, shooting back, more than enough to delete this trash. She hurls him downward like a human missile. Gongja sticks the superhero landing blade flashing and cleaves the boss cleanly in two before he even stands up. The mobs freeze, totally shook. Gongja flicks the blood off his sword, turning to the trembling horde with a casual shrug. Who's next? Come get some. Panic mode engaged. The monsters scatter, scrambling for the exits, but the hunters descend like vultures. Black Witch is losing her mind over our boy's performance. She announces the stats: stage cleared in record time, under an hour. Casualties, less than 30. Gongja is honestly floored by her reaction. Usually she's stone cold because of the high death counts, but right now she's beaming. The low mortality rate has her absolutely buzzing. It clicks for him. Her mood swings are tied to survival stats. Turns out the terrifying commander is surprisingly pure-hearted. He tries to tell her to chill, but she's running on pure adrenaline, hyping him up as the MVP of the smoothest raid in history. Fewest deaths on record. She says he should wear that like a badge of honor. Gongja is left speechless as the Black Witch gushes. A hero like you is a straight-up miracle, she says, gripping his hand. Mark my words, the media is going to eat this up starting today. Gongja shakes back, thinking that clout from the public is sweet and all, but it's just surface-level noise. He craves validation from the real ones, the grinders who bleed for this. Legends like the Sword Saint and the Black Dragon Leader, the warriors who leave everything on the battlefield. Those are the only opinions that actually matter to him. He flashes a smile, pumping her hand, resolving to protect those heavy hitters too. Suddenly, the system starts crunching the numbers, calculating battle contributions. Gongja's inner monologue goes dark. He refuses to be a pawn in some demon king's twisted game, or get mocked like the Flame Emperor used to do to him. He just wants to pay respect to the hustlers, and get that respect back. Even the Sword Emperor chimes in, admitting Gongja is finally looking like a main character worth watching. Our hero stands before the glowing system interface. The world is evolving, and he decides it's time he leveled up his mindset too. He scans the leaderboards. The rankings have shuffled. This timeline is deviating from the previous loop. Black Witch addresses the squad, convinced this momentum can carry them straight to the 20th floor. She admits she expected a bloodbath, 5,000 dead minimum, but it's smooth sailing. Gongja, however, isn't celebrating. He frowns, recalling the future. If they don't pivot, the 12th floor is a guaranteed wipeout. He knows they're about to lose, the only diplomat capable of handling external trade, a loss that would cripple their economy. If they stay passive, the death toll won't be 5,000, it'll be 50,000, maybe 500,000. Instantly, Gongja warps to the 12th floor. The whole crew is already there. Black Dragon Leader surveys the terrain, muttering that this map is nothing like she anticipated. The cult interrogator gives Gongja props, then probes for intel on the next boss location. Assuming our boy has the cheat sheet, Gongja shuts it down. Hold up, I have an announcement for the guildmasters. The chatter dies instantly. You recall our deal from yesterday? Gongja asks. The cult interrogator raises a hand, smirk evident. Obviously. Gongja nods. Time to pay up. He drops the bomb. For the next 5 days you do nothing. 0. Just camp here. He declares he'll handle the grind solo. All the way to floor 20. Black Witch recoils like she's been slapped. Is this a prank? Because nobody's laughing, Gongja. The hero stands firm. You heard me. No jokes, no games. The air in the room instantly gets heavy. Black Dragon Leader scoffs. Impossible. She reminds him that clearing the 10th floor alone took years of blood and sweat. Yeah, we speedrun the 11th floor in under an hour, sure. But don't get it twisted, she warns. You're getting cocky on an adrenaline high. The hero bows respectfully, but doubles down. I cleared the 10th floor for my own gain, he admits, but I'm sharing the loot and the glory with all of you. He emphasizes that his intel lifts everyone up, not just himself, so he's earned the right to make this one demand. 5 days. That's it. He doesn't care if they think he can clear the gauntlet or not. Whether I hit the 20th floor or fail, just wait for me. That is my only condition. Simultaneously, the system starts dispensing the 11th floor clear bonuses. 2 reward notifications pop up behind Gongja's back. A random hunter spins around to check the panel, while our hero wonders if the Demon King is accelerating the timeline since the fighting stopped. Gongja stands there stoic, waiting for the guild leaders to make their move. The Demon King pushes hard, urging Gongja to pick his reward now. Gongja ignores the noise, locking eyes with Miss Paladin and the other bosses. The Demon King hints that he might withhold the reward, but the cult interrogator instantly cuts the tension, claiming he doesn't see an issue. He argues that Hunter Gongja dropped major intel about the 11th floor, and all he asked for in return was a single favor. A deal they accepted provided the ask wasn't impossible. The cult interrogator points out that idling for 5 days straight is a tall order, especially with the media circus breathing down their necks outside. But technically, it's not impossible. So he's on board. The Black Witch starts to protest, but the interrogator shuts her down. A deal is a deal. He physically grabs her head, forcing her into a reluctant nod. Viper signs off too, even though he has zero clue what Gongja is cooking up. The Countess agrees, figuring if Gongja is calling for a timeout, he's definitely got a master plan. Miss Paladin falls in line as well. Soon, every guild leader is on board, but the Sword Saint stands apart, watching silently until he drops a bomb. He never made that promise. He clarifies that their only agreement was for him to shadow Gongja for the next 5 days, so he sees zero reason to cater to any extra demands. However, if Gongja heads out to clear the 20th floor, he will be right on his tail just like they discussed. Gongja brushes it off, saying everything is cool, even though he's secretly plotting to solo the Demon King. Still, having the Sword Saint watching his 6 definitely puts him at ease, so he's not backing down. He asks for their attention one last time, turning around with a bright, confident look. He thanks them for playing along and drops a final line as he walks away. He'll see them in 5 days. Gongja cracks the gate open and steps out. Immediately, he and the Sword Emperor are stunned. Every single NPC is frozen in place. Gongja realizes it's because the quest hasn't officially triggered yet. The Sword Saint, sticking to his word, trails right behind him. Our hero explains to the Sword Emperor that since no one selected a role yet, the Empire is currently missing both a Chancellor and an Admiral. Replacing those figures with hunters is the trigger for the quest line spanning the 12th to 20th floors, linking back to the initial mission given. Upon entering the 11th floor, Gongja racks his brain, wondering if in the previous timeline, the 12th floor quest triggered too late. He realizes the system only unlocks the scenario after the roles are assigned. Marching toward the fortress exit, he confirms his theory: if they don't pick a role, the quest stays locked. That means no Demon King invasion and no Imperial resistance. As he steps out of the stronghold, Gongja turns to the Sword Emperor with a hypothetical: what happens if the Demon King dies right now? He pops open the minimap and asks again, what happens if the boss gets wiped before the quest even starts? Gongja answers his own question: it's elementary. No one gets to pick the Demon King's reward. And obviously the traitor never shows up because the threat is eliminated before they can make a move. The Autumn Rain Demon King starts fuming at Gongja's audacity, and then boom, he suddenly materializes. The Demon King demands to know why Gongja is meddling, and commands him to follow the sequence set by the Goddess of War. He snarls, calling Gongja impudent for showing up without selecting a role. However, Gongja retorts that he made his choice exactly as expected. He unsheathes his blade, declaring this the ultimate option. Gongja flashes a smirk and vows to slaughter the Demon King before the quest can even load. That means 0 casualties for the hunters or the Empire. No traitor, no drama. He claims this is the route to a true happy ending, completely victimless. Gongja grins again, admitting he hasn't been able to stomach tragedy for a long time now. If there's a shot at a perfect conclusion, he'll take it every time. He taunts the Demon King, claiming the monster is the one standing in the way of their happy ending. The Demon King rages, asking how he dares to intervene solo without even rallying the Empire's forces. Gongja raises his weapon, questioning what help he'd even need, stating that true warriors are born to fight alone. The Demon King instantly obliterates Gongja. But right before the lights go out, our boy scratches a mark on his palm. He analyzes that the Demon King's style isn't actually complex, just raw, mindless destruction. Sure, it's terrifying, but if you can predict the trajectory of the swing, it is dodgeable. The Sword Emperor agrees, noting it's all about the timing. Gongja gets wasted again. Still, he keeps tallying the deaths on his hand. He dubs this the Prison of Time. Next run, he chugs a potion and engages the Demon King while buffed. But once again, the Demon King's blade mows him down. Gongja dies, wakes up, and adds another hash mark. He starts wondering what would have happened if they had played by the rules. How many bodies would drop in the inevitable battle waves? 1 dead knight costs 20 years of life. 10 deaths wipe out 200 years. 100 casualties. That is 2,000 years down the drain. Our boy didn't grind for a fancy class or title to earn this reset ability. He's doing it purely to protect this timeline. Screen fades to black. He respawns 24 hours in the past. To win, he realizes he needs a disposable body, a vessel, ready to be deleted from existence. The Sword Emperor cackles in his ear, roasting him for getting clapped by a basic attack he already knew was coming. Gongja gets wasted again mid-combat. The Ghost Mentor sighs, pointing out that our MC still handles his aura like a total noob. The energy flow is all wrong. Another death, another reset. He opens his eyes, staring down the Demon King for the umpteenth time. The boss monologues about the warrior goddess's rules, but Gongja ignores the NPC dialogue, rushing in to end this in a single hit. He leaps, strikes, and gets one-shotted. Again. He loops the same scene over and over, screaming his declaration that he is the warrior destined to slay the Demon King. He dies on repeat but refuses to quit taunting the boss every single time. Claiming the title of Sword of the Empire, the Demon King dares him to back it up. Gongja raises his blade, locking in. Then, splat, dead again. But now, he's grinding harder. His swing is faster. He manages to block the incoming attack for just 1 second. Survival. That single second feels like a lifetime of progress. He tells himself that even a massive river starts with one tiny drop. Even if he has to fight for every single frame of existence, he pushes forward. Every time he respawns, he marks a tally on his hand, the ink blurring as the count rises. In one loop, the Black Dragon Guild leader actually praises his skills. The floor is cleared in under an hour, with fewer than 40 casualties. Next run. Under 50 minutes, only 30 dead. Then 40 minutes less than 20 lost. He whittles it down to 10. And finally, the perfect run, 0 deaths. The Demon King sees Gongja grinning like a maniac and asks why. Gongja says he's genuinely happy. The boss is baffled. How can a man on death's door be smiling? Gongja replies that nobody could possibly understand the grind. The Demon King calls it arrogance. Gongja calls it the truth and launches another assault. He dies, but the momentum doesn't stop. His blade is sharper than yesterday, and tomorrow it'll be lethal. Later in the loop, the Black Dragon Witch approaches him, checking the stats. 0 casualties. She grabs his hand, stunned. Not a single soul from the pantheon fell. She breaks down sobbing, thanking him profusely. Gongja thinks, yeah, this feeling makes life worth living. Snap back to reality. He's facing the boss again. The Demon King asks how he dares to solo this raid. Gongja shrugs, it's just the warrior way. He engages effortlessly, dodging the next strike. The Demon King swings wildly, screaming that Gongja's shadow is the true villain here. Gongja parries, but suddenly a spatial distortion. A mirror cracks open. The Black Witch teleports in behind him, breaking the script. Curiosity killed the cat, but it brought the witch. She asks why he's trying to solo the boss. He claims it's just a warrior's game. She refuses to let him have all the fun and joins the fray. Gongja laughs, asking if she's trying to steal his kill credit. She quips that stolen loot tastes the sweetest. The Demon King tries to interrupt, but Gongja shuts him down. Forget the solo act. Maybe jumping the boss with the whole squad is the real warrior spirit. The Demon King loses his temper. He screams that their cheap tricks are over-summoning a legion of evil spirits. Monsters spawn in every corner of the arena. The Black Witch freezes. This mob density is way beyond what two people can handle. The guild leader screams out, asking if the Sword Saint is going to carry his weight. The old man stands there, chill as ever, saying he's still analyzing. After all, it's only been 30 seconds and Gongja is already brawling with dark slimes. Gongja yells that he wanted a little solo time, but now he's ready for backup. The Black Dragon Witch prepares to retreat, shouting for everyone to grab her hand for extraction. Gongja refuses the evac. He says he's good. He raises a hand to the heavens and triggers his ultimate skill. He summons his own army of spirits, shocking the Demon King. Flashback time, we see the Demon King's origin story. It started as a small anomaly, growing inch by inch. Every time it snatched a new body to inhabit, its hunger and joy grew. Suddenly, the entity shaped like a mountain lion spotted a young girl running for her life. She screamed for her daddy, but the woods were empty. The beast pounced, devouring the child whole. It absorbed every piece of her, digesting her very existence. Her memories began to flood into the monster's mind. The creature morphed, taking on the girl's form. Her father's voice rang out, calling her name Estelle. He peeked from behind the bushes, asking about her torn clothes. The thing wearing his daughter's skin turned and smiled, saying she was just fine. Cut back to Gongja, skill fully active. Skeletons begin to claw their way out of the shadows. Gongja turns to the Sword Emperor, asking if he's curious why he chose a necromancy skill over a combat one. He admits that initially he wanted a flashy DPS skill. He starts explaining the technique. A buff that boosts aura, it would have been sick to fight with the same power as the Demon King. But he's changed his mind. He flashes a skill card, grabbing the Sword Emperor's full attention for the reveal. Since the skill card explicitly mentions summoning victims killed by the user, Gongja hits the Sword Emperor with a burning question. What's your actual body count? The spirit shrugs it off, claiming a big fat 0. Well, maybe 2 if you're being technical. The Flame Emperor and his own sorry self. Gongja nods along, but there's a catch. Then he drops the hammer. If that's true, why did the Sword Saint's detective eye clock your kill count at over 4,000? He argues that the tower's math works differently. He presses the ghost again. How does he tally the dead? Suddenly, the Sword Emperor freezes. One of the summoned skeletons is gripping a familiar blade. It's Gongja's sword. The realization hits like a truck. These aren't random bones. Gongja admits the dark truth. He really has murdered himself countless times. The Black Witch looks absolutely shook, asking if this nightmare is Gongja's skill. It finally clicks. This insane self-sacrifice is how he soloed the 10th floor. Even the Demon King looks rattled, demanding to know where Gongja acquired such a twisted technique. Our boy just smirks, refusing to spill the beans. The Demon King loses it, screaming that this defiance is absolutely unforgivable. Meanwhile, Gongja pivots to the Sword Saint. Fight with these bones. With your backup, we're literally untouchable. The Saint grumbles about teaming up with monsters, but admits there's still a massive upgrade from Gongja himself. Then the hero rallies the Black Witch. I need you. Together we turn the Demon King into toast. Sword raised high, Gongja unleashes his army of evil spirits. Show them what you've got. He aims straight at the boss and screams, kill or die. The Bone Brigade charges, but the giant monsters smash them to bits instantly. But here's the twist. Broken limbs and shattered skulls just snap back together. The skeletons merge, morphing into a force that finally overwhelms the giants. Watching the chaos, the Sword Emperor notes the grim similarity, an undead army as reckless and relentless as Gongja himself. A legion that simply refuses to stay dead. The Demon King is fuming now. How dare you, he roars. He calls Gongja a tourist, a mere outsider, oblivious to the crushing weight of this world's agony, its hatred, and its life. He demands to know who gave Gongja the right to interfere. Gongja doesn't flinch. He points his blade straight at the boss and claps back. Who cares where I'm from? I'm standing right here. You don't get to decide my rights. Telling him to shut up and deal with it. Boom. System notification. The tower validates him, instantly bestowing a legendary title, the Death Sovereign. It's official. Gongja grins and says, "See, the tower knows I belong here." Cut to a flashback. The Demon King back then, Lady Estelle, is timeless, growing more gorgeous by the century. They called her the Holy Virgin. Rumor had it she could cure anything, drawing desperate parents and their sick kids to her doorstep. One mom begs on her knees for a miracle. Estelle tells her to leave the dying child and return at sunrise. Alone, the vibe shifts. Estelle lifts the sobbing infant, but her eyes aren't kind. "You smell delicious," she whispers. She mocks the mother's desperate love, and the ragged blanket, wrapping the vibrant little life. Even with nothing, the kid pulses with energy. She promises the pain will end, then devours the child whole. Flesh, memories, everything. "Now I understand," she murmurs. Touching a pool of black sludge, she molds a replica, a hollow non-entity, and tells it to live a little longer. Dawn breaks. The mom returns to find a bouncing, revived baby. Estelle hands over the copy, claiming he's healthier now, and immune to sickness. "Just love him like you always did." The mother bows, weeping with gratitude, unaware of the horror. Estelle's fame explodes. The savior, the healer. Crowds flock to her for hope, but the church smells a rat. Knights declare her a heretic, and the order comes down, purge everything. They storm in with torches, slaughtering the followers and burning the sanctuary to ash. Estelle screams in pure, unadulterated rage, calling the knights heartless beasts. "You don't care about life. Your own evil will destroy you." Back in the present, Gongja barely dodges a lethal strike, trying to hold the team together. The Demon King swings again, an unpredictable blindside. Gongja can't track it. He dies. Immediately, his cheat skill kicks in, rewinding time 24 hours. The system reminds him, memories and skills are still intact, so he's not starting from zero. It's Groundhog Day from hell. Fight, die, rewind. Each loop he downloads, the Demon King's moves getting sharper. The Black Dragon Witch backs him up every run, but the monster summons are endless. Death after death piles up. The clock is ticking down. Only 4 days left until his summoning cooldown resets. Another death, another rewind. Finally, with just 23 hours on the clock, he steps into the arena again. The Dragon Witch is panicking, but Gongja weaves through the attack effortlessly. "I'm good," he says coolly. The Demon King is baffled. "Can you see the future?" Gongja gives a vague smirk. Then the system chimes in. Spirit summoning is back online. Gongja triggers the skill, catching the Demon King completely off guard as he launches himself skyward and brings his blade down in a vicious arc. Clang, the Demon King parries the strike like it's nothing. The Sword Emperor, one of Gongja's spectral roommates, chimes in, noting the boss is tough, but definitely worth the XP. He tells Gongja to worry about dual summoning later, then cracks a joke about Gongja evolving from a lowly zombie to a straight-up zombie king. "Zip it, you're throwing me off," Gongja snaps. But boom, distraction kills. Gongja bites the dust and triggers the 24-hour reset loop. Respawn complete. Gongja screams in frustration, blaming the ghost for the chatter. The Sword Emperor just laughs, totally unbothered, and hits back with "skill issue, kid." Meanwhile, the system interface pops up nearly 7 days until the summoning skill cools down. Gongja vows he'll pummel the ghost one day, but the spirit sneers, "Good luck, killing a guy who's already a corpse." He orders Gongja to stop whining and slay the boss. While the Emperor flexes about clearing the 20th floor solo back in his day, Gongja screams a warning to the Black Witch. Incoming from the right, she locks in, summoning a mesmerizing array of mirrors to channel her mana before blasting the Demon King. Kaboom! The blast shreds the boss's torso. Gongja cackles, teasingly calling her ma'am. She immediately bristles. "Watch your mouth, I'm not ancient." Gongja blames the healing potions for the confusion, even though she is technically pushing 50. Suddenly, the Demon King begins to regenerate, and Gongja's instincts scream danger. Dragon left flank Sword Saint on deck. He commands the dragon to evade if the zone is clear, sensing a massive AoE attack brewing. The Black Witch starts charging up round 2, encircling the Demon King with mirrors for a 360-degree bombardment. Once again, his body is blown to smithereens. But then the script flips. Instead of blood, weird skin starts knitting together from the black sludge. Gongja freezes. What is this? System alert. The Autumn Rain Demon King is fleeing. He's retreating to the 13th floor. The raid team is stunned. Bosses don't just run away. "Don't get cocky," the Demon King hisses, promising his return as his last remaining fragment slips away. Gongja buries his face in his hands, completely drained. What does this mean? Suddenly, the tower pings him with a hidden quest. And boom, floors 13 through 19 unlock instantly. The system dubs him a hero and grants permission to hunt the Demon King down. Except, you bet, Gongja smashes that yes button. Hidden quest, Hero of a Time Frozen World is now active, and the system wishes him luck. It scans the 12th floor for the boss's signal. Result negative. The signal keeps moving. The Sword Saint Gongja and the Black Dragon Guild Master watch the radar. The Black Witch is totally lost and demands to know what's happening. "No idea," Gongja admits. Even the Sword Emperor is silent. He's never seen this mechanic before. Gongja spins around to face the Black Witch, pointing toward the horizon, and says, "Look at the fortress walls, the enemy banners. They're gone." The Black Dragon Master grabs his hand, eyes wide, saying, "We need to verify this." They rush to the ramparts, bracing themselves to see a frozen, ruined city. But instead, the city is alive. People are walking, talking, and living in total peace. Gongja realizes the truth. History hasn't just continued, it's been rewritten. Their victory rebooted the timeline. In the original timeline, the Ajim Empire was destined to fall to the Demon King's occupation, and it was always a coin toss between destruction or enslavement. But in this timeline, the invasion never happened. Pure joy washes over Gongja. Nobody down there knows what he did, but he knows. He changed everything. He recalls the horror of the Red Rain, but now that same spot is blooming with life and bustling crowds. As the heroes soak in the view, a voice interrupts their reverie, shouting from below. It's Sarvis, flanked by 2 knights. "Identify yourselves," he barks. "How dare you trespass on the Imperial Tower?" Gongja freezes. He remembers when this man begged for help. Smiling, he calls out Sarvis. That just makes Sarvis furious. "How do you know my name?" To him, Gongja is a total stranger. The friendly ally from the 11th floor is gone, replaced by a suspicious guard. He remembers Sarvis's desperate plea to save the Empire before they ascended. The irony is too much. Gongja bursts into hysterical laughter, leaving Sarvis baffled. The Black Witch stares at Gongja like he's lost his mind, and even the Sword Emperor looks concerned at the outburst. After a solid minute of manic laughter, Gongja wipes a tear and screams at the top of his lungs, "I protected it. I saved your empire." The knights exchange weird looks, but our boy doesn't care. "I kept my promise," he shouts, drawing the gaze of every citizen below. He thinks back on the hundreds of days he looped, refusing to let a single person die. It was hell, but hundreds of days later, he finally crushed the Demon King. "I did it," he roars. "I'm proud of myself." He remembers the old Gongja, the loser who spent his days drunk, envious, and mocking successful hunters. He used to justify his apathy to protect his fragile ego. But today Gongja stands tall, finally truly proud of the man he's become. That thought hits the spot. Even if the world only hypes up the Sword Saint, or the head of the Black Dragon, it doesn't matter. He knows the truth. He's the real MVP of this story. The system kicks into gear, tallying the purge participants. 3 conquerors flash on the holographic screen. First up, the Death Sovereign. Sarvis snaps, visibly irritated, asking what the hell Gongja is babbling about now. Gongja just screams his name, throwing a casual wave. "Yo Sarvis, hold down the fort for the Empire." He totally throws the knights off balance, yelling that snagging the Demon King is all that matters. The rest of their empire can rot for all he cares. "They'll figure it out," he bellows. The Sword Emperor cackles, noting he expected Gongja to act like a grown-up, not a loudmouth braggart. Ignoring the shade, Gongja pivots to the Black Dragon leader. "Let's bail. 13th floor stat." She nods, expression grim. "Understood. Top-tier hunters. Yeah, they're never normal." Space warps around them, and boom, they're standing right next to the Sword Saint. The old man grunts, noting that first place always gets the honors. The Black Dragon locks eyes with Gongja. "You're the Death Sovereign, our rep. Say the magic word." Gongja smirks. "Transmit." Instantly, reality shifts. The second their boots hit the ground, a system window pops up, welcoming the Demon King. Piercing screams shred the air. The Demon King is losing it, howling like a maniac that someone snatched his children. Pure rage radiates off the monster. The Sword Saint shudders, admitting that shriek is pure nightmare fuel. He's never heard anything like it. Why is he screaming his lungs out? The Black Dragon wonders. Gongja drops into a combat stance, ready to throw hands. But the Sword Emperor suddenly pauses. Wait, something's wrong with this guy. He senses a glitch in the matrix. He's weaker. Way weaker than before. Gongja spins around, eyes wide. The Emperor muses. Maybe the Black Witch fried his circuits with her aura. Nah, that doesn't add up. His stats tanked, the Emperor explains. This dude was an SSS-Rank boss back on the 12th floor, but now he feels like a slightly buffed version of that Goblin King from floor 5. You know, the one you barely scraped by while crying like a toddler. The Emperor shakes his head. This is weird. Bosses are supposed to level up as we climb. Unless the witch's aura came with a major debuff. Gongja's gears start turning. Did the narrative just rewrite itself? Glitch alert. The system tries to tally the 12th floor rewards but fails. Calculation error. Rewards postponed until the 19th floor. For now, he gets crumbs. His God of War patronage spikes, and a map unlocks floors 11 through 20. Gongja gapes. It's practically a global atlas. He turns to the squad. I got it. He locks eyes with the Black Witch. Think back to what we saw before. The Demon King torching the capital gone. That massive refugee camp, poof, vanished. Ask yourself, where did those refugees come from? It clicks. The logic is flawless. Even if they evacuated the whole continent, the camp shouldn't just disappear. Realization dawns on the Black Dragon's face. The timeline shifted, she whispers. Not just the Empire, everywhere. Gongja nods. We traveled back. Before the Demon King nearly conquered the world. We're at the exact moment the temple fell. He addresses the ghost hovering over him. That's why his level tanked. They say when hunters level up, their existence gets heavier. I thought it was mystical mumbo-jumbo, but it's real. He got swole by slaughtering thousands of refugees. But in this timeline, those kills never happened, so his power plummeted. System notification. The Demon King's existence is fading. Suddenly, the monster unleashes another ear-splitting shriek. The squad braces for impact. Shadows writhe as the king summons his children, thousands of evil spirits flooding the arena. Feast, my little ones. I always hated zombie flicks, the witch groans. Amid the chaos, Gongja smirks at the Sword Emperor. Hey, wanna make a bet? How many times do I bite the dust before we hit floor 19? The Emperor snorts. I'll take the under on 100. I'll bet under 99, Gongja shoots back. Deal, the Emperor says. But don't expect me to save your ass. Deal, Gongja grins and immediately gets slaughtered. Reset. He blinks back to life, turning to the Black Dragon. So plan B. She's sweating. I'm barely holding on here. Can you trigger your ult? She yells. Still on cooldown, he shouts back. I need 3 coins to recharge it. Coins? What the hell does that mean? She's confused, but he ignores it. Sword Saint smash. That sarcophagus-looking roof. I need to test a theory. The old man pauses. Test what exactly? Gongja brushes off the questions with a casual wave, dropping the classic, I'll explain later. He's playing the fortune teller card again. The Sword Saint raises a skeptical eyebrow, but grudgingly plays along. And shocker, Gongja gets wasted immediately. Reset. Post-respawn, he tips off the Sword Saint that the creepy sarcophagus is actually a secret tunnel. Down in the dark, there's a specialized warhammer, custom-built for smashing the undead. He directs the Sword Saint to team up with the Black Dragon. The mission, wield the hammer. The Sword Saint scoffs, claiming his blade is his only partner in life. Gongja has to hard sell him, swearing the hammer deals massive area of effect damage. All he needs to do is infuse it with aura and slam the earth to wipe the board. The Sword Saint demands to know where he's getting this intel. Gongja screams, I'm a fortune teller, right before getting sliced in half mid-sentence. Talk about bad timing. Next loop. The Sword Saint finally takes the hint. He grabs the mallet and goes to town. Crack. The entire zombie army collapses. Gongja starts celebrating, thinking only the Demon King is left on the board. But then a colossus stomps into view. It's a grotesque nightmare, part zombie, part giant. Gongja realizes it might be the sacred Cyclops, the former temple guardian, now a puppet for the Demon King. Gongja steps up to solo it, and Splat gets deleted instantly. The Sword Saint itches for a duel, but Gongja shuts him down, ordering him to keep spamming aura attacks on the mob instead. The old man grumbles, insisting this beast is perfect for his blade. Gongja snaps back, playing the Trust the Fortune Teller card again. He commands the Black Dragon to snipe the Cyclops right in the ocular. The Black Witch lights up like it's Christmas. She confesses she's always dreamed of blinding a giant. But before she can pull the trigger, the Cyclops blasts a laser beam. Zap. Gongja is toast again. Gongja respawns and immediately pops his spirit summoning skill. The Black Witch does a double take. That skill should be on a massive cooldown. He screams for an all-out assault on the Cyclops, but adds one crucial rule: do not hit the eye. The Black Dragon looks totally lost. Gongja warns that targeting the eye triggers a catastrophe. The Black Witch groans loudly, clearly annoyed. She's dying to take that shot. Gongja nods, admitting it's a juicy target, but insists they have to hold back. The Sword Saint steps in, telling her to trust the fortune teller. The Black Witch sighs, defeated, and promises to behave. She unleashes hell on the body instead. The Demon King flees to the 14th floor. Suddenly, the vibe shifts. Flowers burst into bloom everywhere. Laughter echoes as ghostly children run through the fields. Gongja glances at the mountain. The Cyclops is purified back to its normal self. It stands tall, guarding the temple once more. The team links hands, soaking in the peace before marching into the forest. The Demon King is on the run, retreating to the 15th floor. They clash, he flees to the 16th. Rinse and repeat all the way to the 17th. The saga is reaching its climax. The Demon King is cornered on the 19th floor, his existence flickering out like a dying candle. The squad arrives to find the Demon King looking pathetic and drained. He bitterly mutters that none of this was supposed to happen. If not for Gongja and his meddling crew, he'd still be on top. Now he's just a shriveled, tiny little man. Gongja grips his blade, staring down his enemy. For the first time, he can actually look the Demon King in the eyes. It's wild they've been fighting this whole time without ever locking gazes. He dares the Demon King to gather every scrap of power he has left and strike. He taunts him, asking how much more pathetic he'll become if he runs again. If the king wants a prayer of winning, he needs to stand his ground right now. The Demon King sneers, calling Gongja a scavenger hyena. Gongja ignores the insult and screams for Estelle. He gives her the final green light. Go full power. Don't let my legend outlive yours. Flashback time. Gongjia dies and gets hit with a skill penalty. Suddenly, he and the Sword Emperor are warped into a nightmare, a village engulfed in flames. He's stunned. Knights are roaring, slaughtering civilians, claiming they need to purge the corrupted monsters. Estelle witnesses the atrocity, paralyzed with horror. She can't process why humans are incinerating their own kind. The knights claim they're following the Emperor's decree. The Forest King ordered it. Even the magicians are in on the genocide. The inferno rages on. Families are trapped, choosing to perish in their crumbling homes rather than face the blades outside. The fire spares no one. Infants, elders, all gone. When dawn breaks over the ashes, Estelle stares blankly at the devastation. She wanders through the charred ruins, stepping over smoldering timber and the blackened remains of her neighbors. She freezes. In the debris lies the corpse of a young girl she once healed. Her legs give out, and she collapses to the earth. She begins chanting the names of the dead like a prayer. In a fugue state, she scoops up handfuls of ash and dirt, shoving them into her mouth. Swallowing the filth, she mutters that the knights are non-entities. She repeats it, a broken mantra. Dark Ikor begins to weep from her eyes. She staggers to her feet, her voice trembling. They were human too. They were born just like you. They knew the beauty of this world. She screams it now. They were people. They could cry. They could feel. She demands to know why the world insisted on branding them monsters. The black substance engulfs her entire form. Her eyes glow a sinister crimson. She wonders if humanity was the lie, and if she was always destined to be the monster. The sky opens up, weeping blood-red rain. She questions if those knights even deserve the title of human. Now she vows to make them prove that a person is actually a person. The Demon King's shadow swallows the entire battlefield, his voice dripping with venom. Time to pay up. He spits a curse at the world. He roars that their own darkness birthed him. No more burning villages. He declares their own toxic malice will eat them alive. The Sword Emperor snaps Gongjia back to reality immediately. Snap out of it. This isn't your personal hell. The penalty phase. Officially complete. Back in the fray, Gongjia is still clashing with the beast. He slices the Demon King clean in two, waiting for the Sword Emperor's signal. Clear your mind, the spirit commands. The Demon King recoils, screaming in agony, and our boy catches that opening instantly. The monster's form is clearly withering, shrinking down as the grime fades away. Then the system chimes in with a notification. The Autumn Rain Demon King is being erased from existence. But the monster, he's in total denial, refusing to accept the truth. Suddenly, crimson blood gushes from his hand. He stares at it stunned, but the real shocker is about to hit him. Gongjia drops the ultimate flex. He orders the boss to run. Retreat to the 20th floor, he commands. You're not ready to beat me yet. He mocks the Demon King, telling him to scurry back to his base, his final fortress. Go back to where you started, buddy. That's your finish line. The Sword Saint watches the scene unfold in silence, gripping his blade while the Black Witch steps up. She decides to let the Death Sovereign handle the final blow. The Demon King is seething, absolutely livid, but he flees to the 20th floor. And just like that, Gongjia rewrites history. He turns to his squad, the Sword Saint and the Black Witch, and drops a bomb. He's taking the 20th floor solo. The Sword Saint bows, grateful for the carry so far. But he makes it clear he intends to cross that finish line with the Demon King eventually. The Black Dragon's leader doesn't argue. He knows they only made it this deep thanks to Gongjia's insane contribution. She admits she flaked on her promise to stay put for 5 days before, but this time, she's staying put. For real. Day 5 ends today, the Sword Saint notes. He tells Gongjia to link up immediately after clearing the 20th floor. We need to talk. Privately. Gongjia nods, bows with respect, and heads straight for the 20th floor portal. The system welcomes Gongjia to the boss stage. A dense forest materializes, and there stands the Demon King waiting. As Gongjia strides forward, the system goes wild, tallying up every single reward from floors 11 through 19. The tower acknowledges his legendary performance. It pings a notification: the powers of the Death Sovereign are officially online. His status is solidified. He's granted limited rights as an apostle, unlocking the ability to upgrade any skill in his arsenal. Well, except the EX tier ones. Gongjia muses that he still has no clue who built this tower or why it even exists. Why stuff it with monsters from other dimensions? He starts piecing it together. This tower is a living observer, watching their every move. It's an entity that remembers choices. Our hero raises his blade, pointing it dead at the Demon King. End of the line. The Demon King is shaking, absolutely terrified. He screams, warning Gongjia not to dare destroy his precious paradise. Cue the boss battle music. Our boy stands his ground, sword raised high, staring down the nightmare. The Demon King roars that forgiveness is impossible. The image of burning ashes is branded into his mind, haunting his vision. He screams, demanding to know how the protagonist dares to forget the atrocities they committed. Summoning his blade, he asks if Gongjia plans to rewind time and burn his world again. The hero takes a beat to think. This is supposed to be the hardest stage, yet this Demon King is historically the weakest boss ever. The enemy charges in. He swings wildly, but our boy parries it like it's nothing. Tables have turned, Gongjia realizes. We've switched roles. Back on the 12th floor, the Demon King was the raid boss, and Gongja was the challenger. The monster was the aggressor. But now Gongja pushes him back without breaking a sweat. This world is officially broken, he mutters. Because now the Demon King is the underdog fighting for survival. He shrieks and launches another desperate attack. Die, the monster yells. Gongja just smirks. Threats, please. Dying isn't a fear for him, it's practically his hobby. Slash. He bisects the Demon King instantly. The system alert pops up. The Demon King's existence is fading. The monster regens, but Gongja chops him down again. You're only getting weaker, he taunts. Slash after slash, the notifications pile up. Fading, gone. He lands another blow, and suddenly, the Demon King freezes in place. Black sludge pours from the wound. Estelle starts panicking as the tower strips away her boss title. No longer the Autumn Rain Demon King. She screams, begging the tower to stop, but it's over. Her demonic eyes revert to human. The hero watches her writhe. She's weak enough now. Estelle looks up, terrified, trembling. Stay back. He steps closer, cold and relentless. If you don't stop me, I'm not stopping. Estelle scrambles backward. She starts rambling about her children, about the horrors humans inflicted on them. She screams, "You have no right to do this to me." Our boy cuts her off mid-sentence. Wrong. He casually tosses his sword over his shoulder. From your perspective, look to me, he's just a random tourist from another dimension. But you claim your entire world conspired to torch your village. Let's keep it real. I'm the only true outsider in this zip code. My fellow hunters, they had zero involvement in your tragedy. So drop the judgment act, Estelle. You don't have the moral high ground, and you definitely don't have the muscle to stop me. Estelle is sobbing now, screaming she was just a healer trying to save the sick. But the main character isn't buying her tears. His expression goes stone cold. Do you honestly believe your hands are clean? You must have felt that same terror back then, he says. Just like you're shaking right now. He drags up the memory that moment she begged for mercy, crying for her daddy. He reminds her of the desperate mother who brought her dying child to Estelle, praying for a miracle, hoping for a savior. Instead, Estelle devoured the kid whole. You played the saint, he spits out, but you stabbed everyone in the back. Estelle screams she never wanted any of this, but he cuts her off. You buried the truth. You stole a face and snacked on a child. You stayed silent because you were terrified the world would see the monster underneath the skin. Estelle clutches her head, spiraling. I didn't know, I didn't understand how human lives worked. She claims the words meant nothing to her. He leans in. Is that your excuse? She screams. Yes, if I had known. I never would have done it. But he hits her with a cold reality check. That is exactly how humans operate. He points out that the tyrants who burned her village probably spun the same excuses. She denies it, but he pushes harder. Sure, maybe some were lying. But can you vouch for every single one of them? What about the soldiers just following orders? What about the refugees running from city to city just trying to survive? Surely some of them were clueless too. He steps closer, looming over her. I never went to school. I'm uneducated, but I know one universal law. What goes around comes around. Now that Estelle actually views her victims as real people, forcing her to suffer their exact pain, that is the definition of fairness. Estelle stares at him, totally lost. What are you doing? She stammers. He ignores her, turning to the system. He's cashing in his cleanup reward to mod a skill. The tower says okay, he can upgrade anything, but there's a cap. It can only boost a stat from SS to SSS level. He picks his evil spirit summoning. The tweak, he wants the option to let his summons keep their pre-death memories. Estelle panics. What's the play here? He smirks. Just balancing the scales. I don't want your powers, just your memories. The tower runs the numbers and approves. Skill evolved to SSS rank. Now when he raises the dead, they keep their faces and memories, but their power is gone. It's his first ever SSS skill. He tells her it's time to die. Or if that word triggers you, just imagine I'm going to consume you exactly like you did to them. He readies his blade. I'm absorbing you and spitting you out just like you did to those helpless patients. Estelle scrambles, grabbing her sword in desperation. I'm actually glad you turned human, he says. Back when you were a monster, my skill wouldn't have worked on you. Now I can summon you. She snaps, charging him with a scream. He sidesteps her attack with zero effort. The Sword Emperor is watching the replay and cringe reacting. Her form is trash. Footwork is sloppy. She's not even looking where she strikes. He explains she used to rely on OP stats and aura. She's not a real warrior. As Estelle flails, the Emperor reminds our boy, this is why I harp on basics. When the magic fades, only your hands and feet save you. End this. The protagonist shatters Estelle's blade in a single blow. Metal shards fly. She collapses, wailing. He stands over her, ready for the fatality. He raises the sword, but the Sword Emperor suddenly shouts, hold up, the ghost apologizes for the lag. Don't rush the kill, the Emperor warns. Our hero is annoyed. Bro, why? It feels too smooth, the Emperor says. She might not be a monster anymore. What if she's just an NPC now? We don't know if the summoning skill works on non-players. The MC argues NPCs are people too, but the Emperor tells him to read the fine print. It says people you killed. Does the system count NPCs as people? He pauses. That is a massive loophole. How does the tower define person? The Emperor asks. Estelle is silent, while the MC debates with a ghost. Then he gets a brainwave. He pings the tower. Does this skill apply to anyone I kill or just hunters? The tower glitches, question unclear, then beyond authority level. But then it scans his credentials. Twist. Because he is acting as the Death King and holds temporary apostle rights, the system takes it seriously. Initiating protocol, calling a meeting with the 6 Pillars of Eternity to vote on the answer. The MC panics. Wait, cancel that. But the request is already sent. Blink of an eye, and he's gone. Our MC materializes in a void, completely disoriented until a system alert smacks him in the face. Verify identity. The atmosphere gets heavy. The heavy hitters roll in. First up, the 6th pillar, the Ancient Staff. Right behind him is the 5th, the Mirage Walking Princess, followed by the 4th, the Moon that stares down the blind. Finally, the 3rd pillar arrives, the Legislator of Origins. Gongja's on high alert, senses screaming, but his vision pitch black. Just a crushing god-tier pressure. Ping. 2 notifications confirm the full roster is here. Time to settle the King of Death's inquiry. The debate, whether non-player characters deserve a second shot at life. They call for a vote. Suddenly, the air fills with static alien garbled tongues that defy comprehension. Gongja clutches his skull. The tower usually translates everything, but this audio is raw, unfiltered. That's when it clicks. These aren't just bosses. They exist outside the system. They transcend even the Demon King. We're talking about the architects of the tower itself. Voting starts. The 5th pillar slams. Yes. The 4th follows suit. He squints at the shadows. The 3rd pillar drops a hard no, while the 2nd refuses to cast a ballot entirely. 2 for 2 against. A deadlock. Gongja's pulse spikes. Why the stalemate? Then he counts again. One entity remains silent. The big boss. The tower's owner. They're hesitating. They think he's gonna exploit this glitch, slaughter innocent NPCs just to build an undead legion. But he knows his own soul. He steps up, voice steady. I'm not some power-hungry tyrant, and I won't become one. The response comes instantly. Not bad, kid, but too logical. A cosmic voice booms, drop the brain, speak from the heart. Gongja grins, eyes flashing. The Demon King, that's my kill. Nobody else gets to touch him. That pure possessiveness seals it. The 1st pillar master of all lives casts the winning vote. System-updated NPCs are now valid targets for revival. The meeting dissolves, and his temporary apostle status vanishes. Wham! Back in reality. The Sword Emperor is staring at him. Yo, spaced out much? I just told you to ask the tower a question. Gongja pauses. It felt like a split second. And 1,000 years all at once. He probes the ghost. Did you hear that? The tower pulled me into another dimension. The architects were there. Laughing at me. This is big. The ghost is clueless. Even the legend who cleared 99 floors has never heard of this VIP lounge. Enough talk. Gongja raises his blade. The target, the terrified saintess, trembling before him. He'll deal with the existential crisis later. Right now, there's work to do. The Sword Emperor is confused. I got my answer, Gongja says coldly. Slash. She drops. He triggers his skill, summoning the abyssal black slime. From the muck, Estelle rises. Stand up, he commands. She looks identical, but the vibe is all wrong. New existence, new rules. Her old self is dead. Estelle is gone. Your name is now Hungry Ghost. Total submission. She bows, tears streaming down her face. By all rights, she should despise him for murder. But the skill overrides hate. She obeys instantly. Meanwhile, the system confirms the Demon King has vanished from the 20th floor. Scene shift. The Hungry Ghost stands amidst a bustling village. Her soul screams in protest. She shields her eyes, begging for it to stop. Thunderous hooves approach. It's Commander Sarvis leading a war party. They pull up. The ghost crumbles to the dirt. Master, I hold no hate, she whispers. I am yours to command. In the background, locals are offering food to a starving mother and child. Estelle's spirit breaks. She weeps openly. Do whatever you want to me. Just please spare them. Gongja looms over her, the ghost hovering nearby. So he asks, is this that burden of royalty you preached about? Protecting the weak, she sobs, apologizing for her naivety. He turns his back. You lost the bet, Saintess. Now figure out how to pay your debt. Gongja steps toward the cavalry. Stop. Sarva scowls. Who do you think you are? Imperial decree, the commander barks. We're here to purge the witch who brainwashed these people. We will burn this corruption with holy fire. Gongja scans the troops. He knows these faces. The knight, the alchemist, the blue ogre. He saved every single one of them across the 13th, 14th, and 15th floors. The knight steps up. The high priest demands death for the heretics, calling that witch a saint. Warriors, nomads, merchants. An entire coalition of lives saved by our suicidal hero, now standing against him. Sarvis screams for a name drop, demanding to know who stands before him. Suddenly, a system window pops. Hero of the frozen world difficulty? ? Gongja just stands there, radiating menacing silence. He takes a second to get deep in his feelings, realizing the whole continent is sleeping on his sacrifices. No clout, no credit for the justice he served in the shadows. But whatever justice doesn't need a hashtag, and devotion speaks for itself. He locks eyes with the knight and drops Sarvis's government name. That triggers the knight instantly. You have zero right to speak to him, he yells. Gongja cuts the noise, revealing he knows exactly what kind of mess the emperor is in. While the knight obsesses over some dusty imperial decree, Sarvis plays dumb, acting like he doesn't hear a word. But Gongja leaks the script. He knows Sarvis is plotting to snake the crown prince and install the third prince instead. Major treason vibes. He downloaded this intel straight from living through Sarvis's own trauma reel. Gongja steps into his personal space, reminding him who paved the road for his success. You went from hauling crates at the docks to commanding armies, Gongja says. Sarvis snaps back, accusing him of being an Amber Palace spy, claiming he's only here to gaslight the troops and twist the narrative. Gongja actually laughs in his face. He roasts him. Those old fishing nets you used to carry aren't the only things full of holes. Your eyes are useless too. Cold sweat starts dripping down the knight's face. Who sent you? He stammers in terror. Our MC raises his blade high. Take a good look. He's wielding the legacy of the OG himself, Emperor Lafanta Agium. The sword flares with blinding light as Gongja exposes the political rot, calling out Sarvis's dirty betrayal in 4K resolution. Are my words stinging yet? Sarvis literally falls off his high horse and hits the dirt kneeling. Not disappointed at all, Sarvis cries out in submission. Gongja hits him with the command, protect the empire. Every single life. Sarvis's squad salutes him like the king has returned. The entire army drops to their knees. The sword emperor spirit floats nearby, looking proud. Even the ghost admits, your lying game is god tier. Our boy grins. You just noticing. The ghost drops wisdom. Confidence is the ultimate cheat code. To scam the world, you gotta scam yourself first. Method acting level 100. Gongja lowers the glowing blade, and a sea of knights remains bowed in total submission. In the back, 2 elves and some red-robed guys are whispering. Is he the real deal? They're sus, but that sword, you can't fake that glow. Sarvis looks up from the mud. But wait. If the ancestor is here, why we marched out here to raid a witch? Gongja channels the spirit's advice. Believe the lie. His eyes glow a demonic crimson. That witch, she's already been handled. He points a finger at Estelle, the witch of the west. Sarvis nods, confirming the target. Gongja flicks his wrist, and the girl stands up like a puppet. The mob screams burn her, but Gongja barks kneel. The hungry ghost drops to the floor instantly. Head on the ground, bam, she obeys. Then he starts the weirdest boot camp ever. Push-ups, planks, squats, side, shuffles, go. She grinds through the workout until she collapses, totally gassed. Gongja smirks at the crowd. See, 0 threat left. She's under total control. Sarvis and the boys are shook, but one skeptical knight isn't buying the show. This is a trap. She's a ticking time bomb, he yells. Don't let him fool you. He's just a guy with a fancy sword. Sarvis snaps. Doubting that sword is doubting the goddess herself. But the knight pushes back hard. I follow orders from the High Pope, not you. Sarvis cuts him off, accusing him of choosing the church over the empire. The drama is heating up. The third prince doesn't need your dusty priests. It's practically a civil war right there on the battlefield. Gongja watches with a silent knowing smile. He sees exactly what the third prince's faction is really about. No wonder the hungry ghost tried to tear them apart. Even the elves are rolling their eyes at the pointless beef. Short-lived humans are so dense, one size. The knights get salty and someone yells, duel me, then bro. Out of nowhere, a blue monster with a massive tongue crashes the party. Move, I've got the fix right here. Let's run a vibe check with this soul gem. It's a treasure gifted by the ruler of the Mer people. It's basically a lie detector for the soul. Touch it with blood. Light is good, dark is pure evil. The lizard holds it up. If you're really the ancestor, and she's really a witch. The creature hisses. Then take the test. He breaks down the mechanics again. Good soul equals shiny white light. But if you're trash, it turns pitch black. Our boy mentally checks with the sword emperor. Is this legit? Yeah, half-breeds love making toys like that, the ghost confirms. Gongja tells them to bring it on. Don't try to fake it, the lizard warns, grabbing Estelle's hand aggressively. Slice. Blood hits the gem. Boom, instant void black. The lizard gasps at the sheer darkness of her soul. What kind of monster are you? Demon King level. He shoves her away in disgust. You're up next, pretty boy. Gongja steps up cool as ice. The lizard slices his palm, still yapping about how the truth always exposes liars. His blood hits the stone. Immediately, it detonates a solar flare of holy light so bright it blinds the entire lobby. The elves and the lizard are absolutely shook, and the commander looks like he's seen a ghost. Nobody can process just how pristine Gongja's soul actually is. The guy is radiating pure light, practically rocking a halo over his head. The lizard is 100% convinced that our favorite suicidal maniac is a literal saint walking among them. He's racking his brain, trying to place where he's seen a spirit this blindingly bright before. Big fat tears start streaming down the lizard's face as he whispers that Gongjia has to be the goddess's chosen apostle. And Gongjia, he doesn't deny it. He looks them dead in the eye and confirms, yeah, I'm the apostle. The knights are totally lost in the sauce, scratching their heads over why the creature is calling our boy the light, but the vibe shift is undeniable. Gongjia is built different. Suddenly, a few monsters lock eyes on the blade gripping his hand. That's the Emperor's sword, the ultimate receipt of noble blood. One captain steps up, asking if Gongjia is really the great Emperor's heir. Then why is he blocking them from torching this village to the ground? The hungry ghost tugs on his jacket, whispering that, if he's really the apostle, he needs to rain down some heavenly judgment on these knights right now. Gongjia recalls the Sword Emperor's golden rule: the best lies are 90% truth. He claps back at the knight to watch his mouth, because he calls the shots on who gets punished here. Matter of fact, he's already taken out the trash. With a casual snap of his fingers, he summons an army of skeletons bursting from the earth, dropping the proof right at their feet and scaring the living daylights out of the knights. Gongjia gently rests a hand on Estelle's head, declaring this is his burden to bear. He challenges them, asking why they assume this witch is the only monster in the lobby, explaining that these rattling bones belong to villains he personally stomped out. These are demonic cultists on the same level of evil as the witch herself. He proclaims it's the goddess's will to purge evil and drag demons down to the inferno. This isn't a choice, it's his destiny. The lizard realizes Gongjia soloed all these threats, and our boy confirms it. He gestures to the undead crowd, saying, this right here is their personal hell, and nobody could have guessed the apostle would go this hard. Gongjia tells them to stand down. There's no reason to hurt Estelle anymore. The real bad guys are already dusted. These demons are booked for an eternity of suffering. The Sword Emperor admits he's got nothing left to teach a guy like this. The kid is a better liar than he ever expected. Gongjia smirks, telling the Sword Emperor not to sell himself short, because he's still taking notes from the master. Then Gongjia turns back to the crowd, reminding everyone that this scene is straight up the goddess's will. The knight captain is still sweaty, asking if Gongjia actually has these demons on a leash. He just wants to make sure they won't break out later. Gongjia snaps his fingers again, calling out the captain for needing receipts that he isn't secretly harboring demons. A skeleton with jet black bones claws its way out of the dirt. Gongjia cuts the chatter and says this should settle the debate once and for all. The bones crumble into dust, and Gongjia summons the spirit trapped inside. Surprise, surprise, it's the freaking Flame Emperor. The Flame Emperor wastes zero time grabbing Gongjia by the collar and screaming directly into his face, yelling that boiling him in hot sewage water is too kind for what he did. He screeches that he's going to end him and drag his soul through the pits of hell. He keeps shaking our boy like a rag doll, screaming threats. Gongjia just turns to the crowd, telling them that this man is the definition of a villain way worse than the witch. See, the witch was born with darkness in her veins. But this guy, born human, yet he chose to commit atrocities. The elves watch in pure terror as the Flame Emperor continues his unhinged tantrum. Our boy snaps his fingers one more time and commands dance. Instantly, the Flame Emperor's body betrays him and starts busting a move, completely against his will, confused and raging. While leaking a massive aura of death, he screams that he'll murder Gongjia, but his legs keep grooving. He's literally dancing circles around Gongjia, and it is definitely not a victory lap. The captain drops to his knees, witnessing this god-tier power, and Gongjia proves that the demons have zero choice but to obey. Even so, the warriors are hesitant. One knight stammers, asking for the hero's name, and Gongjia replies, Confucius, which, no joke, is what Gongjia actually translates to. Every single knight hits the dirt kneeling and pledging their loyalty, all while the Flame Emperor is still forced to put on a humiliating dance show, shouting furious threats at our boy. The system finally chimes in, congratulating him on smashing the quest. The boss stage is officially cleared. 2 notifications ding above the hero's head as the sky shifts from an apocalyptic orange to a peaceful blue. The system starts tallying up the loot for clearing the stage, promising delivery in 24 hours. The 21st floor unlocks soon. The Sword Emperor cracks up looking at the hero and talking about how absolutely unhinged it is to clear a boss stage with a method like that. The hero lifts his head, saying he doesn't give a damn if he's crazy or not. At least he conquered the tower up to the 20th floor, doing things exactly his way. Not a single hunter bit the dust during the battles. He flashes back to timelines where knights were slaughtered, but this time, no one from the Empire or the continent lost a life. And he even adopted the hungry ghost. Sure, even if they had just away from keyboard and watched, the stage probably would have cleared. But that alternate ending was a nightmare scenario. Torching the city and nuking everything could have been the result. The tower doesn't care about good or bad endings. If it did, a monster like the Flame Emperor never would have climbed to the 40th floor. Gongja muses that the tower didn't pick this world, and the ending doesn't always have to be picture perfect. Not a cloud in the sky, zero chaos. Just the exact finale, our boy scripted. The Sword Emperor gestures to the idiot dancing, asking if that clown show is really part of the master plan. Meanwhile, the Flame Emperor is screaming his lungs out, begging for it to stop, totally clueless why Gongja is letting this humiliation ritual drag on. Gongja. He just flashes a thumbs up and hits him with a winning smile. Isn't it beautiful? Boom. System announcement drops. The 20th floor has been conquered. Twice. But honestly, Gongja looks kinda let down. The vibe isn't hitting because there's no connection. That's when the Sword Emperor claps back, reminding him, didn't you say you only cared about clout from the elites? You wanted the Black Witch or the geezer to notice you, not the NPCs. At first, Gongja tries to cap, acting like he never said that. But then he flips the script. Actually, the more the merrier, right? He starts wondering if maybe, just maybe, he can get the whole world to stan him. Sword Emperor calls him a straight-up glutton for attention. Suddenly, wham, the Black Witch tackle hugs Gongja, absolutely buzzing that he is still breathing. She is hyping him up, calling him a total maniac. Then she drops a bomb. I heard a rumor you are basically a toddler, not even in your 30s yet. She is throttling him out of pure excitement, and Gongja is barely wheezing out a please stop. Meanwhile, the old man is just chilling by a tree, watching the chaos. She shoves her phone in Gongja's face. The internet is losing its mind. People are absolutely glazing him for clearing the floor in a record-breaking 5 days. She literally warped back to the first floor, just to screenshot the receipts. The headlines are screaming, 14th floor conquered. The King of Death, a new star is born. She couldn't even capture it all, but the hype train has officially left the station. And it is not just the tower climbers, the real world is obsessing over him too. Gongja looks shook, totally unprepared for this level of fame. The witch tells him the streets are talking. Who is this guy? Where did he spawn from? How did he get this OP so fast? He looks at her stunned. You went through all that trouble just to save these receipts for me. She puffs out her chest, beaming. You bet I did. She burned a portal scroll just to visit the lobby and be his personal PR agent. Gongja's mind is blown. The number 2 hero in the world. Doing all that grunt work just for him. She leans in super close, doubling down. Yep, all me. Gongja's face instantly lights up like a tomato. Then she drops some pro advice. Do not read the comments. The trolls are out in full force and the haters are definitely hating. Gongja is staring at her like she is a literal angel descended from heaven. The Sword Emperor scoffs. Kid, anyone who isn't trying to kill you looks like an angel to your lonely ass. Gongja turns an even deeper shade of crimson. In his head, she is not just an angel anymore. She is straight up goddess tier. She flashes a ranking sheet. Gongja's jaw drops. He is sitting pretty at rank 3. A climb this fast, unprecedented in tower history. You are the face of the hunters now, she says, playfully smacking him with the paper. Time to start thinking big picture. Technically, he is on the roster for 5 major guilds, but he is basically a freelancer. He doesn't truly belong to anyone. But a rank 3 player, that is not a grunt. That is a guildmaster level player. He shouldn't be taking orders. He should be giving them. Gongja mulls over the title, Guild Leader. She shrugs. If you want to go the lone wolf route, like the old man over there, and just murder hobo your way up, I won't stop you. The Sword Saint's ears perk up. I can hear you, you know. The witch ignores him and points to the army behind Gongja. Who is the entourage? Gongja introduces them as knights from across the continent. He explains the lore after he clapped the Demon King. An invasion event triggered. Instead of fighting, he maxed out his charisma stat, bluffed his way through, and convinced everyone he is the heir to some ancient emperor. She bursts out laughing. You really are a master scammer. But hey, 0 casualties, that is a win. And now the door for trade is wide open. She realizes they can finally cut ties with the shady merchants from the outside world, whose markups are highway robbery. The old man chimes in. The game was always rigged. The outsiders held the tech and power, so they set the price. Gongja looks at her. He remembers the Ice Queen he met on day 1. Now, the vibes are completely different. She is actually warm. He cuts to the chase. How badly do you want to trade with this continent? Her answer is immediate, desperately. Then use my name, Gongja says. I will vouch for you. I will be your bridge. To these people, I am the goddess's apostle and the emperor's successor. My word is law. The witch smirks. That is a very spicy offer, but I know there is a price tag. Gongja drops his demand. I want the 20th floor. All of it. Every inch of dirt. He sweetens the pot. I will waive all my clear rewards from floors 11 through 19. Plus, we split the trade profits with the other guilds. She hesitates. I will have to run that by the other guild masters. Then she frowns. But why this place? It is a dump. The soil is trash. It is cramped. Gongja shrugs. I am a land guy. Real estate over cash any day. Classic Gongja logic for our suicidal landlord. She agrees to pitch it, but points a finger at the elephant in the room. She stares at the Flame Emperor, who is still busting moves like a malfunctioning NPC. Seriously, What is wrong with him? Let's just pretend that isn't happening, Gongja says. They trigger the teleport, warping back to the hustle of the first floor. Back in civilization, the Black Witch suggests their usual spot. That coffee shop, same time, same place. Sounds like a plan. As they walk, the reality hits. For the world, it has been a quick 5-day trip. For our boy, he has lived hundreds of days in that hell. The Black Witch leans in for one last warning. Get your game face on, Gongja. The whole tower is watching you now. The second he breaches the building's exit, absolute chaos erupts. A tidal wave of paparazzi blinds him with flashes, screaming his name, Gongja. The Sword Saint and the Black Witch flank him as they descend to the lobby, where the crowd instantly turns into a sea of smartphones, desperate to livestream the moment. The mob has already branded Gongja with a wicked new moniker, the Death King. Reporters thrust microphones like spears into his face, demanding to know if the rumors about him soloing the 20th floor are true, and what is really going on between him and the Black Witch. Gongja is drenching in cold sweat until the witch leans in, hissing for him to zip it. She drills him, asking if he has ever handled a media circus before. His silence says it all. She tells him he needs to curate a vibe right now, either commit to the shadowy enigma persona or embrace the celebrity clout. Once he locks it in, there is no hitting undo. Sword Saint grumbles that he prefers dodging the drama entirely, which is why he operates as a lone wolf. Gongja leans toward the mystery angle. The Black Witch lays down the law. It starts with a poker face. 0 social media presence. No live streams. No constant vlogging, and interviews are limited to twice a year exclusively, with journalists she vets. Gongja looks lost, so she spells it out. Clout is a narcotic, and once you get a hit, the withdrawal is brutal. Sword Saint calls the fame game hollow, but the witch insists it is a rush. Hollow, she challenges the hero on his true desires. He admits he is not chasing cheap attention. He wants legacy-defining recognition. She notes that most hunters are satisfied with a niche fan base, but Gongja is hunting for the throne. She respects that ambition, even if the nuance is subtle. Suddenly, the press swarm tightens around him, and he frantically asks the witch how to maintain that stone-cold expression. So, she drops her secret weapon, trauma. Channel the darkest memory you have. For her, it is the memory of fleeing a bloody civil war and losing her father in the chaos. Gongja attempts it, tapping into his hatred for the Flame Emperor, and his expression instantly freezes into a terrifying void. The Black Witch smirks, impressed by how fast he adapted. They bulldoze through the media mosh pit, with Gongja radiating a lethal, intense aura. Later decompressing at a cafe, the squad is buzzing. The cult interrogator cannot stop hyping Gongja for clearing the 20th floor in a mere 5 days. Miss Paladin exhales, admitting she was mentally preparing her own eulogy during the cleanup. She demands to know Gongja's secret sauce. His answer, just trust your gut. The Countess, or Count, depending on the mood, recounts the nightmare where the Empire's NPCs flip the script, branding them as invaders. Viper throws shade at the cult interrogator for sniffing out a rat hole escape route. The interrogator laughs it off, claiming he was kidnapped by the Bulgarian mafia, as a child, calling those the glory days of his life. The Black Witch sighs, noting they are a collection of tragic backstories. Slum rats, gang lords, you name it. She brands them all as damaged goods from the outside, but Miss Paladin snaps at her to put a lid on the trauma dumping. Miss Paladin then asks the big question, is Gongja officially part of the crew now? The witch confirms it. He anchored the defense. 0 casualties recorded, even with the massive swarm on the 11th floor. She declares Gongja, the pristine poster boy, their tower needs. The rest of the team, they are PR disasters. The Countess is a gold digger. The interrogator is a walking war crime. Miss Paladin is allergic to cameras. And Viper has 0 charisma. Sword Saint is just a boomer obsessed with blade work, while she prefers pulling strings from the dark. Gongja is the only blank canvas. The cult interrogator immediately goes into spin doctor mode, insisting on the mysterious hero narrative. Gongja starts losing his mind as they begin fabricating his public persona, complete with fake tearjerker origins and charity stunts. He pleads that he wanted to be mysterious, not fake, but the Black Witch insists. They need at least one iconic shot for the glossies. They force him into cringe poses with a sword, while the spirit of the Sword Emperor cackles in his ear. That is the breaking point. Gongja rips off the jacket and roars that hunters should focus on conquering the tower, not this celebrity nonsense. He roasts them for stagnating on the same floors for years while stressing over image. The Black Witch and Countess light up that raw rage, that is front-page gold. Sword Saint pats Gongja on the shoulder, telling him to surrender. They did the exact same thing to him back in the day. He is checking out, refusing to endure this circus. Gongja chases after him, while the guild leaders scream about a press conference at dawn, warning him to lay low. On a rooftop, a random hunter spots our boy fanboy mode engaged and begs for an autograph. Gongja awkwardly signs his first one. Once the fan leaves, he turns to the Sword Saint, who gets deep. The saint admits he has slaughtered countless people without a shred of guilt. He lives by his own code. While the other high rankers rose from filth and tragedy, he was a Nepo baby born into luxury. He entered the tower to prove his talent wasn't just privilege. He draws his blade, admitting he traded raw skill for a system crutch called vigilance. He looks Gongja in the eye, asking if he has ever killed an innocent. Never, Gongja replies. Satisfied, the sword saint slices his own skill card in two. From now on, he trusts his own eyes. He grins, thanking the rookie for the wake-up call. After blitzing through the last 5 floors, he drops strict orders: rest up for the media circus and the 21st floor. Then, he literally yeets himself off the roof, leaving our MC solo. Gongja turns to the Sword Emperor, voice trembling with disbelief. Did the Sword Saint just actually give him props? The Emperor confirms it. Yeah, you really just got recognized. Legs giving out, Gongja crumbles to the ground. Tears stream down his face, pure, unfiltered relief. The nightmare is finally over. The ghost mocks him for being dramatic, saying he's acting like he cleared 50 floors, not 20. But before he can clap back, a system ping interrupts the roast session. It's the goddess of protection. She's sliding into his notifications, impressed and demanding he become her apostle. Total confusion hits Gongja until she whispers a specific instruction: look down to the left. That's when the final authority kicks in, and the realization hits him like a truck. The goddess isn't a person. She's been the sword in his hand the entire time. She confirms his suspicion, and his brain completely short-circuits. Cut to later, Gongja is lounging on the couch, glued to the newsfeed. The headlines are screaming his name. Breaking news, the 20th floor is clear. They're looping footage of him annihilating a massive ogre like it was light work. Anchors are losing their minds, claiming if the tapes are legit, this king of death one-shot an 11th floor boss. Just deleted him from the server instantly. Unprecedented. Historic. But for our boy, it's pure second-hand embarrassment. He can't handle the cringe and smashes the power button. The Sword Emperor complains he wanted to see the highlights. Gongja rolls his eyes. It doesn't matter, every single station is spamming the exact same clip. Suddenly the blade starts yapping. The goddess of protection is back, vocalizing straight from the steel. She's hyping him up, gushing over his legendary run. But Gongja isn't feeling the clout. He tells her this fame feels less like a trophy and more like a massive burden. Like a fame tax he never signed up for. He's totally drained from the grind, and asks if she's maybe, just maybe, glazing him a little too hard. She ignores the humble brag, calling him the light, and then she pulls up the receipts, reciting the edgy speech he gave when he first stepped into the tower. The cringe is lethal. Gongja wants the floor to swallow him whole. It hits him she's standing him exactly how he used to obsess over the Flame Emperor. Enough is enough. Gongja grabs the hilt and threatens to scrub her down with a nasty, filth-covered rag if she doesn't cut the fanfic monologue right now. Immediate panic mode. The goddess begs for mercy, terrified of the rag, and Gongja finally gets some sweet, sweet silence.